Well, there you are. Welcome in. Welcome in, as we always say, every Saturday night to Six Screens Live, JW World News. Friends, I have to tell you, I'm so pleased to be able to say I've been doing this program for 18 years. We have never missed a Saturday night. We are here because you are here. We're helping expose the Watchtower organization for who they are, a very dangerous and destructive cult. Well, anyways, my name's Rick Farron. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And we have so many apostates up here, we really do. And we're in good company. And as I always say, don't you worry. There's going to be a lot of apostates coming to your neck of the woods as well. People are leaving the Watchtower right now like they've never left before. I mean, really, there's been periods in the Watchtower where thousands, hundreds of thousands, really, of people have left. Back in the 1930s, when Judge Rutherford took over, after Pastor Russell died, back in the 30s, we had about 250,000 people leave the Watchtower organization. And then, of course, back in 1975, there was about 250,000 people that left the organization then. But by far right now, we have more people leaving the Watchtower than ever before in the history of their organization. Well, we're so glad you're with us, and we talk about the news. We talk about the biggest news stories every week right here on JW World News. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Chewy. He's a good man. He sends me a lot of information. He keeps me right up to date on what's going on behind the curtains. And I want to thank all the people that send their news articles all day long. Today was really something else. People were emailing me. They were giving me messages on my telephone. They were calling me. And it was a big story. We're going to get into that tonight when we talk about the governing body meeting that they had today. But I just want to thank everyone for sending the news articles, everything you come across on the internet concerning Jehovah's Witnesses. Thank you. Thank you for sending it here. It's like a JW News clearinghouse. We have so many things to talk about. And we got some really big news coming up. Not right now. I'm going to save that for a little bit, get the audience warmed up here. We got a big story we're going to talk about. Probably one of the biggest stories I'll ever have to report here on the Six Screens. And it blew my mind today, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I wanted to start off, I wanted to talk about something here that I really feel is happening as of late in this organization. It's the organization is in deep doo-doo. They're actually on life support. Did you know that? Yes, the organization is on life support. They are doing everything they possibly can to bring people into the organization. They don't want people leaving. However, they know there's a ton of people leaving, like you just said. But did you hear about the evacuation drills? Yeah, this is all of a sudden starting to pop up. Some of the witnesses are talking about it. Maybe it's just some renegade elders in some strange kingdom halls, but they're actually having evacuation drills. Now, can you believe that? In other words, they're having a drill. Remember in school, we used to have a fire drill in case there was a fire. We used to prepare for the exit route and how we're going to get out of the building. Well, some of the witnesses, according to the information that's been coming in here and sent to me to the Six Screens, some congregations, maybe not all, but some congregations are actually having evacuation drills. Yeah, they are being told to get their emergency go bag ready, have it ready and packed, and they're going to leave the city. No, not just leave their home. They're going to be told to leave the city, and they will be given instructions on where to go. Well, that's interesting because I first came across the go bag. We talked about it a couple of years ago. Nobody really told the witnesses where to go, but now it seems like some of these drills are telling the witnesses where they will go, so they have to leave the city, but it's strictly an evacuation drill. It's not a real drill. It's just an evacuation drill. It's not real. So, this is an Armageddon training. Armageddon training at its best, right? The witnesses are really trying to scare the bejesus out of everyone. Don't you agree? As a matter of fact, so many people have been writing to me and letting me know that they have relatives that are still in the Watchtower. and they are packing their go bags. They all have a go bag, and they have, like, emergency essentials in it. They have, for example, batteries, flashlights, a small fishing pole, a compass, matches, of course, their Bible. They have, the essentials, little sterno cans, things of that nature. So that's what we're hearing. So it's just strange to me that some congregations are actually, from what we do understand here, having evacuation drills. And when you guys are watching TV, did you ever get that beep, 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 and all of a sudden someone comes on and says, "This is a test"? Had this been an actual emergency, you would have been notified by authorities. Well, that's kind of what I got thinking of when I hear this evacuation drills going on at the Kingdom Hall. I mean, who are the authorities here? The elders? The governing body? Who actually is the elders? So, witnesses have been starting to really really harping about the Great Tribulation. This has been coming across the internet for the last week here, big time. And the Great Tribulation, that is the gift that just keeps on giving, right? I mean, even when we were all witnesses, the Great Tribulation, we got to be careful. It's going to come soon. It's going to be here. Well, is it? Well, they're harping on it big time. In fact, I'll tell you what, if you get in there and you check on the news that's been going across the internet this week on Jehovah's Witnesses, you're going to hear about that hailstone message. My goodness, they're trying to really scare people to death. The Great Tribulation, basically, as they're saying, has begun. And the organization has to keep scaring people. I mean, this does work. I'm going to tell you right now, fear works. You scare people to death, they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to stay close to Jehovah. They're going to stay very close to the organization. So the organization, they know very seriously that these things work. Fear the people. Do these evacuation drills. Get the people feeling like, it's coming. It's right around the corner. That's what you have to do. And friends, it works. So the government, first of all, I just want to say one thing. I'm not going to condemn the idea for people to have an emergency bag. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's not a good idea. I think it's a good idea for you. Maybe it might never have to use it. But the way the world is moving forward as of late, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we have people even on this program that talk about the New World Order, the reset, and all of this. We don't know what our future is. So having a little emergency go bag, I don't think it's a bad idea. But I mean, the witnesses are taking it to the nth degree. They are using it as a fear tactic. So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't condemn an emergency bag or a go bag, whatever you want to call it. But I think that, but I know the witnesses are really going overboard with this idea of evacuation drills. Well, anyways, let's take a look here as well. We got so many news articles we'll discuss tonight. And I want to make you part of the program. I'm going to put our telephone number up here as well. And then if you guys like to call in, I'll put the number up and you can call in real time. And you can ask some questions and you can answer some questions I might ask you. And we do have a secret word here tonight. Before every program, I come up with a secret word. And if you get the secret word tonight, I get a $20 Dunkin' Donut gift certificate. A $20 donut gift certificate, Dunkin' Donuts, if you hit the secret word. So I won't tell you what the secret word is, but if you say it, I'll automatically come in and say you are the winner. So the secret word is we have tonight. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a $20. Someone who says it is going to win a $20 gift certificate from Dunkin' Donuts. Do you like donuts? What do you like? Jelly, chocolate chip? What do you like? All right. So let's move on. We do have a secret word. Let me just move on. I'm going to put the telephone number up. So if you do want to call into the program, it's up here for you. Does someone want to say something? Go ahead. You're on with us, Chicago, Illinois. Go ahead. Chicago.
How you doing, Mr. Farron? I was just unmuting myself. I didn't have anything to say at this Thank you.
All right, yeah, I just want to make sure fine and dandy. So that's Stefan out there in Chicagoland. So thank him for coming in. All right, so anyways, let's get into this next news piece that I have here. I'm going to play a video. Let me see if I can't get that video right up right now. I've got to get it into StreamYard here, so just give me a second. I'm going to get the video up because I think it's very important to see this. This video got my attention. This is from the Watchtower. Well, hold on one second. Well, let me just get that in here right now. Okay, we're going to share screen, and I'm going to get this up for us. Okay, not that one, but it's going to be another one. Okay, this one right here. Did you see the Watchtower streaming this month? Watchtower broadcasting for October. I don't know if anyone saw it, but I viewed it, and I'll tell you, I've been kind of in and out of my thoughts on this one. I don't know where they're trying to go, but I'm going to say desperation. I'm going to say the Watchtower organization is in desperation mode. At least from what I'm gathering as I'm watching this week, viewing the October broadcast from jw.org. The elders here, well, first of all, let me play the video. I'll just give you a little idea what the video is like so you can kind of get up to speed on what's happening. You know, right now, the message that Jehovah's Witnesses have for humanity, for the world, is that Armageddon is very, very close, right? Well, we all know that. So that's what they're telling the world. They're going out on their carts. They're going door to door. They're informal witnessing, wherever they can find people. They're telling the world that Jehovah's Witnesses are right and this world is coming to an end. So they have somewhat of a hailstone message. I mean, that's what they're trying to deliver to people. They're saying if you're not on Jehovah's side, then you're going to get killed. You're going to get killed with a hailstone, perhaps, at Armageddon. So this seems to be the message that's being promulgated by the Watchtower as of late. So now I have a video on JW Broadcasting, and the witnesses, what's evidently happening. And this is the strangest thing. I've never heard of this. I never even thought about it. But the message that the witnesses are promulgating, the message they're coming forth with to the world is somewhat earth-shattering. Some of the witnesses are feeling a little funny about even telling people that they're going to die. Armageddon's coming. You're going to have to change your lifestyle. You're going to have to live an alternative lifestyle from what you've been living. And some of the witnesses, well, they're getting a little bit skittish. They don't want to do that. They feel like, oh my goodness. And you know, the world we're living in today, well, you've heard it said the woke world, right? Everybody's going soft on everybody. Everybody's being inclusive, which is good. So now even many witnesses are taking a stance here. They're taking a position that they don't really like telling the world that they have to change their lifestyle in order to be saved. Some are having a hard time. And that is exactly what's going on here on JW Broadcasting for October. Can you believe it? Well, I'm going to show you now. It's going to open up. I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to open it up, and you'll see it on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook. And you're going to see a young brother, a young Jehovah's Witness man, I say brother, and he's scared to death. He's got his cart. He's got the JW emblem, and he's getting afraid. He's apprehensive to speak out and tell the world that Armageddon's here. The Great Tribulation has started. He doesn't want to do that. He's afraid it could kind of backfire on him. He's a scaredy cat. He doesn't want to speak the witness message. So it opens up with him sitting on a bench, and he covers up the sign. You watch. You're gonna be impressed by this. This is unbelievable. You know, I'm gonna get this up on the video suite. I think the people in the video suite should see this too. So I'm gonna get up. Just give me a second, and we have a video suite here, which is kind of good. People can get in, and it's like our own little private suite, and you can get on that suite as well anytime you want. All you have to do is go to 6screensofthewatchtower.com. Let me just mute this. Yeah, if you go to 6screens at the Watchtower.com, scroll down and you can get into the video suite. Hit the link that says click here for the video suite. All you have to do is put your name in and you come. So I'm going to put this up on the video suite. I want the people in the video suite to see this. I think it's very important that they see this video of this man. So let me just get that up right now. And then, okay, here we go. Where are we? Where are we? I want to get up, but I can't find it in here right now. Okay, what? Come on. Well, we might not be able to get up for the people in the video suite. I wanted to, but it doesn't seem to be allowing me to get it up. So I'm sorry, folks, that we won't be able to show it on the video suite tonight. Okay, so let's just stop it right here then, cancel it. All right. So anyways, let's show it for the people on YouTube and Facebook and our other platforms. Listen to this. You'll see it. We'll start sharing it right now. Let me just make sure we got it here. Let me share this. Let me go to my StreamYard, and we can share it right now. Listen in. If you're on a video suite, you're on a radio network, you'll hear it. So listen, this is something else. This is something else, and I want to make sure we get the right one here. It's this one right here. Just give me a second. Sometimes doing this is a little tricky, but we will get it. Believe me, we will get it. So let's go over here. Okay. We got it right here. Let's share it. Let me get the volume up for us so you'll hear it. And we'll start right here. Now, this is a brother who was ashamed to tell the world that the Great Tribulation has begun. He's afraid there's going to be some retribution. Someone's going to be upset with him. Because if you become one of Jehovah's Witnesses today, we all know you have to change your lifestyle, right? So he's a little afraid to do that, but listen in. I think you'll find this very, very interesting. Let's play it right now for you. Watch him now. He's going to cover up the JW sign. He doesn't want to witness. He's afraid what people will think. He takes his jacket, he covers up the JW.org sign. Are witnesses feeling like that?
Sorry, I was running a little behind this morning, but at least I come bearing gifts.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. I could really use it today.
Were you also thinking about that announcement about the special preaching campaign?
Well, that special preaching campaign is to really warn the world and how close they are to Armageddon, and the tribulation has begun. So here's an older brother speaking with the younger brother that's afraid to speak the message. Evidently, Jehovah's Witnesses, this must be something that's going on in the organization. Jehovah's Witnesses are probably getting very skittish about reporting that the Great Tribulation has begun. Listen to him.
Yeah, I was. Don't take what I'm going to say the wrong way, but don't you think the message we'll be preaching is pretty harsh?
No, I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely very direct.
I mean, people already get defensive whenever you challenge their beliefs, and this is going to be next level.
This isn't going to be the easiest message to deliver, but it's not the first time we've done this.
Really?
Absolutely. I don't know if you remember me telling you that my family's originally from Quebec, and my dad was part of an incredibly hard-hitting witness back in the 40s. I looked this up last night. He had to distribute a tract that called out the local religious leaders as hypocrites.
What were they doing?
They were inciting their followers to mob violence against the witnesses, telling them to vandalize our properties, even getting brothers falsely arrested and imprisoned.
Wow. And they had to distribute that tract during the violence.
They had to. Jehovah wanted to show how unjust their actions were. But I remember my dad telling me He said that initially he was pretty terrified.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I'm terrified.
So the young brother, he's terrified to deliver the message of the Great Tribulation. I mean, are the witnesses whimpering out? A lot of witnesses must be feeling this because they know this is the message of judgment. And, if you're going to go out and you're going to start promulgating that message or delivering that message to the people in your community, the witnesses, many of them evidently are feeling this is too much. I can't do this. I can't rock their boat. This is going to be too harsh for them. I'm going to be judged badly. Did you ever feel like that when you were a witness? I never did. See, because they know they're becoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses. These people who become a witness are going to have an alternative lifestyle. The people today, their lifestyle is way different than it used to be. So people are now feeling like, wow, these people are going to be like taken out of the jungle. They're just so that they're not going to handle it. So the witnesses are finding they don't have the courage, many of them, to speak up and talk about the Great Tribulation. Just for another minute more, but listen, then we'll get into some more discussion.
It's normal to feel that way. I've been thinking about it myself. And I thought of an account in Exodus. It's where Moses tells the Israelites to splatter the blood of a ram on their doorposts in order to avoid.
Okay, we'll stop it right there. You got the gist of it, right? I think you guys all got the gist of that message. But I have to tell you, I was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted when I first saw that broadcast for October. So it's videos like this, and they're showing them every month. And, what's really strange here, well, we talk about Robert Hendricks on here a lot, right? We talk about him. He's in the public relations department. And, he doesn't talk about this hailstone message. He doesn't talk about the Great Tribulation. He doesn't talk about Jehovah's Witnesses trying to make you change your lifestyle. It's an alternative lifestyle. But they do it on jw.org. And then why would Robert Hendricks, the spokesman for the Watchtower, why would he come on and give people the message that the Watchtower online is giving people? They wouldn't. They want people to join. That would send people away from them. So Robert Hendricks and the Public Information Department, he's a liar. He's not telling the real truth of what goes on. He doesn't talk about JW Broadcasting this month for October. He doesn't tell them that they're all going to die at Armageddon. No, he tells them what the ears want to hear. He tickles their ears. This is all promoting positive fluff about the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what Robert Hendricks does. But anyways, we got more to say about it. It's very interesting, the timing here. We know the governing body met today, and we're going to talk about that. We got some real good news to share with you guys concerning the annual meeting. But is the timing here all correct? I mean, they've been this JW Broadcasting and speaking about the Great Tribulation, and then we see some things happening at the governing body meeting that we'll bring up a little later on that kind of waters down what's being said here on JW Broadcasting. We'll get into that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So anyways, I think it's kind of ironic that this hailstone message, that's what it's being called. It's a message of, straighten up, become one of Jehovah's Witnesses, or basically get killed by a hailstone in Armageddon. It's a terrible, terrible situation. But, the Watchtower, they're really starting to decay. They are. We realize that the governing body realizes that they are seeing their power slipping. The governing body's power is slipping over its followers. I think you'll all agree that this is true. The Jehovah's Witness governing body, they recommend, in the past, have always recommended things. And some of the things, in fact, all of the things the governing body always recommended, people would do. I remember when I was a witness, and you guys were a witness, when the governing body recommended something, we would all follow their lead, so to speak, right? That's not the case, friends, any longer. The governing body no longer realizes that the rank and file are following their recommendations. For example, in the past, many witnesses would not wear beards. They would avoid certain types of entertainment. Even a stupid thing like going to a recommended lodging list where you would stay for the conventions. People would really adhere to that, and they would follow the recommendations of the governing body. But that was in the past. Now we have recommendations coming forward as of late that the witness rank and file is not following. They're beginning to challenge the governing body. Now, in the past with some of these other crazy things like beards and entertainment and even lodging lists, there were a very small minority that didn't really follow the recommendations, but most of the witnesses did. But something changed. Something changed here in the last 4 or 5 years, and I know what it was. It had to do with the COVID vaccine. And remember when the COVID vaccine was released, the governing body had an immediate video update on jw.org where they streamed all about the governing body saying that it was something they were recommending all of the witnesses to take. Do you remember that? Well, that was certainly one of the... Yes, Mia, yes.
I just want to let you know that I'm listening, and I'm kind of like, this is weird. The whole thing, the whole rant that you're doing, I love it, but I have a little problem. I want more listeners to call in and give their opinions about what has happened today.
Well, Mia, hold on one second. Mia, hold on one second. Well, let's not change the subject. Well, let me do the news, okay? When I'm done, then you can speak up. And we'll I know it has to do with Israel. Well, what's that have to do with what I'm talking about right now? Nothing, right? Well, why would you do that?
It's directly involved.
Well, yeah, but it's nothing I'm talking about now. So let's bring it up when I'm done. Don't do that. Why would you do that? You're my friend. Why would you do that?
I'm not doing anything on purpose.
All right, no, you're not.
Go ahead.
I know you're not. We love you, Mia, but let me proceed. I've been trying to do the news, and we'll let you give your. But Israel has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. Okay.
They do with the governing body.
Well, we'll get into it. There's a lot I want to talk about with the governing body. But what I'm talking about here right now is the governing body is losing their grip. They're not getting.
It's all related.
All right. Okay, Mia. Okay, just let it be. Just let it be.
Okay.
Well, let me finish. I put this takes hours to put together. Hours to put this together.
I understand. I'm sorry.
Okay. I accept your apology. Thank you. All right. So, anyways, the governing body right now is losing their leadership. They're not being followed, and all had to do with COVID. They came out and they wanted all the witnesses to get the COVID vaccine. Remember that? Back during COVID? And some of the witnesses didn't want to do it. Now, always the governing body had witnesses follow their recommendations, but COVID kind of changed the arrangement. A lot of witnesses said, no, I don't want that COVID vaccine. So a sizable population, I'm talking a sizable, I can't give you numbers, but I'd say in the millions. I'd say at least a couple of million witnesses. That's only my thought. I don't know for sure. But I'd say a couple million witnesses rebelled. They did not want to follow the recommendations of the governing body and get the COVID shot. So basically, they were telling the governing body, no, I won't take the vaccine. They never heard that before. The governing body always had everyone, oh, we love you, you're wonderful, you're great, you're the best thing that ever happened to us. We have a governing body. That's all gone. People aren't looking at them like they used to look at them. And as a matter of fact, even if you remember, they actually had a video. Watchtower produced a video at Bethel, and they're all eating together for the first time. Yeah, show them at Bethel. Remember the video? I played it to you guys here on the news. and they were all eating together, the Bethel family, and they were all vaccinated. And they came out and said, look how happy we are. Oh, look at the Bethel family. We all get vaccinated. We're all able to meet and eat together. So, they're really trying to promulgate a push the witnesses into getting the vaccine, but many weren't biting. And so now the governing body's scratching their head saying, hey, wait a minute. They're not listening to us. The rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses not listening to us like they used to. And they're saying they're not going to take the vaccine. And I'm talking about, I'd say, a couple million people. So this made the governing body really upset. So, man, I'll tell you, they are like mad hens in their hen coop. I believe it drove them crazy. And a lot of the sheep were not following their recommendations or their command. And now we see this happening again. No, not just with COVID, but now we see this happening again. We see it happening again with Zoom. The governing body is recommending that people don't use Zoom anymore. The witnesses still want to use it. Circuit overseers are going to congregations. They're demanding, come to the meeting. We want you here personally. We do not want you on Zoom. Please come. The witnesses aren't buying it. They want to stay on Zoom. So this reaction by the sheep has the governing body very, very concerned. They are seeing a shift. The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the world of the Watchtower, they are seeing a shift in the attitude of a lot of witnesses. They don't want to follow the recommendations of the governing body. And we know there's a major decline happening right now, mainly in first world countries. Do you know what I'm talking about? First world countries, America, United Kingdom, Scandinavia, all of these countries that are first world, and they do not want to, many of the people who don't want to be Jehovah's Witness anymore. They're leaving. There's a big decline. So I wanted to bring that up, folks, just to mention to you that the governing body is aware of what's going on in the witness world. But why do I even bring it up? I mean, this is what we do here at JW World News, right? We have to bring things up like this. But I brought it up because I'm going to go now to the governing body annual meeting. It was today, October 7th, 2023. And what I just talked about kind of is very much related to what I'm going to talk about next concerning the annual meeting. The governing body knows they are losing ground. The Watchtower organization knows they are hemorrhaging. Well, they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell the rank and file that. Why would they? I mean, geez, you don't tell people that. It's too negative. But today at the annual meeting, something was said today for us all to consider. I want to play the video. Rather than me tell you, I want you to hear it from Samuel Hurd himself. Now, I don't know if you heard it. I'm sure many have already heard the news. I know it's old news to some. But I'm going to play Samuel Hurd on here right now. Just give me a second. We're gonna bring him right on here now. I've got to get in here and get it on my live feed here. So let me share my screen. So we're gonna talk about something that if you haven't heard this news, I want you to sit down. Just sit down. Don't take this news standing up. It's gonna be shocking to you. It shocked me when I first got it. Well, let's play the news. Listen to Samuel Hurd, and we'll talk about it. Then we'll get into it. Martha, Mia T was just talking about as well. But we're going to let the share here and talk about tonight. So let's share this now. Samuel Hurd, you'll hear him on the network, the radio network, as well as the 6 Screens video suite. Listen to Samuel Hurd. This is today. This is the film clip that we have. Let's share it right now. Let's play it.
An Israelite unfaithful because his 10th was less than another person's 10th? Of course not. Everyone's circumstances and abilities are different. Brother Loesch explained that although tithing was a requirement in ancient Israel, Jehovah did not require others to monitor or keep track of each person's tithe. Tithing was entirely between the individual Israelite and Jehovah. The governing body believes this same principle can be applied when it comes to reporting our time spent in the ministry. Our ministry involves much more than counting time. For this reason, we are pleased to announce that beginning November the 1st, 2023, congregation publishers will no longer be asked to report the amount of time they spend in the ministry, nor will publishers be asked to report their placements, the videos they show, or their return visits. Instead, the field service report will simply have a box that will allow each publisher to indicate that he or she shared in any form of the ministry during the month. There will be one more box where publishers report the number of different Bible studies they conduct. This simplified report serves a valuable purpose. It will allow us to know the number of active publishers in each land. It will also help us to know whether certain territories are producing Bible studies and where there is a greater need for pioneers, special pioneers, missionaries, and kingdom halls.
Well, there you have it. I mean, what else can I tell you? So no more reporting of time for the for the rank and file witness. So I found that, I mean, when I first got that news today, I was shocked. That was released this morning at the governing body. So on October 7th, this will go down in history in the Jehovah's Witness world at the annual meeting of Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania, this exciting announcement. Beginning November 1st, 2023, congregation publishers will no longer be asked to report the amount of time they spend in the ministry, nor will publishers be asked to report their placements, the videos they show, or return visits. Instead, the field service report will simply have a box that allows each publisher to indicate that he or she shared in any form of the ministry during the month. So on the form, remember, you used to have a time hours report. Well, no more report like that. There'll be a simple little form, and all you have to do is check the box if you got any time in at all. But there'll be no hour requirement. There'll be no, well, I got 6 hours in, 7 hours, whatever will be. No, it doesn't matter. If you spoke up for 10 minutes, 2 minutes, you reported time. So there will be one more box as well where publishers can report the number of different Bible studies they conduct. So if you have 2 or 3 Bible studies, well, check the box. I got 2 or 3. But the only thing is now missionaries, circuit overseers, and their wives, special pioneers, regular pioneers, and auxiliary pioneers will continue to report the number of hours they spend in the ministry, along with the number of different Bible studies they conduct. Further information about this adjustment will be provided to the congregation in the coming weeks. So there you have it. I'll give you my thoughts. Then I want your thoughts. Personally, I think the removal of the publisher hour reporting requirement is simply to increase the number of publishers. Did you get what I said? I said that I think the removal of the publisher hour reporting requirements is simply to increase the number of publishers. Yes, because sometimes people wouldn't be reported as a publisher if they didn't at least get, an hour in. So this will automatically inflate the number of publishers. Now, who is going to Who is going to just check the box? Everybody's going to check the box. Of course they would. And this would bring them in and be a publisher. Friends, I have to go, wow. I am really flabbergasted, and I would say this is a major, major change. J.F. Rutherford, N.H. Noor, and old Freddie, well, they're probably rolling in their graves when they hear this. So what do you think? What do you think? I'd like to hear from you. Why do you think they dropped the hour requirements? Go ahead, call into our program, hit *6. I want to get your thoughts. I think it's fascinating. So let's go with 615. Go ahead, 615. You're on with us.
Yeah, Rick. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Isn't this the story that they've been telling time and time again? It started with 120 hours, and forgive me if I'm wrong. Then it went down to 100 or 90, then 70, then 50, and now they're just reserving it for pioneers. Where is the apology for all the people that they tormented? Like my father, not that I have much sympathy for him, but he was an elder working at a concrete company, driving a truck, and doing office work as well, and just working 6 days a week. Where's the apology for saying, "Hey, we messed up, and we didn't have to break your balls for being an elder and not getting your time sometimes. Sorry." They're changing everything, and there has to be apologies for the new changes they're doing. Just like they did with the blood fractions. Where's the apologies for all the people that died? Fortunately, I was born in the 80s, not the 70s, so I didn't have to die from not having a blood fraction medicine. But where's all the apologies, Rick? Where's all the apologies to everybody for all these new changes they're making that are so drastic and different from what Watchtower has ever taught us?
Well, absolutely, Rick. I mean, this is a changing Watchtower. I think you'll agree to that. I mean, how did you first react when you heard the news?
It was pretty disturbing, and I thought that these guys they're changing so much that they don't have an identity anymore. Who are the Jehovah's Witnesses? Are they going to be JW.org at some point and not even have the Watchtower anymore? Yeah.
All right. Can you speak up now?
We're not going to talk about Israel yet. Do you have something to say? We'll talk about Israel.
When it's time.
Okay.
3 or 4.
All right. We'll talk about that in a few minutes here. Okay, let's go. I know you are, so hang in there, man. We want to stay on subject. Let's go to 602 Arizona. Go ahead, Arizona.
Hey, Rick. This is GG, and I'm a real positive guy, so I took the news really great. I just have one thing, 2 quick things, but do the governing body have report time? Because I don't think they announced that. But the other thing is, I'm so happy because, Rick, I am going to start reporting time now in my videos. When I make a video, and I think the 6 Queens should do it too, Rick, when you do videos every Saturday, you need to report your time. And you let the Jehovah's Witnesses know we're going to keep this tradition alive, baby. And our time is better. Look, Rick, you do a presentation every Saturday, and more people go into your show than go to a circuit assembly, a district convention. There's a beautiful lady. Her name is Nelly Lugo. She would always tell me, Gilbert, you need to do videos in Spanish. And I said, no, you do it. 45,000, 90,000 views. She had more people listen to her than any Spanish district overseer. So I'm telling you, man, we need to start reporting time. The pot sake. Let's have fun with this.
Well, we hate to see something so traditional just go down the drain, right? Somebody should start reporting time. Yeah. Thank you, Gilbert. All right, let's go to 267. 267, you run with us. Go ahead, 267.
Hi, this is Cheryl from Philly. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Cheryl. Yes, thank you, Cheryl.
Hi. I'm thinking that they changed the time honestly, because the economy is so bad, I'll be honest with you, and I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. But I'm thinking because the economy is so bad, so many of the Jehovah's Witnesses are working 2, maybe even 3 part-time jobs. Some are working full-time and part-time jobs. It's very difficult for them to go and even put in service time. So I'm thinking that they're really plummeting in service time because a lot of witnesses just, with the rise in inflation, they just cannot dedicate the time to the preaching work. That's all I wanted to say.
Well,
you.
thank you very much for calling in, Cheryl. I didn't realize. In fact, that's a good comment. I didn't really think about the economic impact. But right now, things are really sky high. Many people are having a hard time, especially the witnesses, because they don't have a lot of them don't have really good jobs. Hey, that's a very good comment, Cheryl. Don't you be a stranger. You come back and see us again, okay? Well, all right, let's go to 6.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Let's go to 626. 626, you run with us. Go ahead, 626.
Honestly, I think maybe they're just trying to inflate their publisher count because basically what they've done is they provided a way for people who are barely active or even inactive to claim without providing any evidence that, hey, I just spent the entire month in formal witnessing to relatives and to coworkers. And it's not like they're going to be able to prove that otherwise. Even if they never see you out in door to door or at the carts, you could just say, hey, that's what I did all month. So I don't know, maybe they're just trying to inflate their numbers so it doesn't look like they're preaching. Although I will say this, I don't buy Samuel Hurd's explanation as to how it allows them to keep track of how many people are preaching. Because even under the old system, they could do that. If you didn't turn in or report any time at all, you were considered active after a while. So that just sounds like pure BS to me.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I mean, that's I'm on your team. I'm on your side. I believe that's what's going on. That's one of the things we believe. Thank you very much for calling in. Let's go to 727. You're on with us.
Hi, Rick. This is Elaine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Elaine. Yep.
Okay. So I have to think about moving forward. How are the local elders going to be able to handle this when, maybe every other Saturday, specific people would show up for the field service meeting, go out for the cards, and then all of a sudden nobody shows up anymore except for maybe those who must count their time, like the pioneers and all of that. So how are these Gestapo type elders going to be handling this when nobody shows up? Are they going to pressure people? Are they going to be asking people anymore? Have you done, you don't have to count time, but are you doing anything? So I have to think, how is it going to be handled by the elders? Are they just going to turn a blind eye? I don't know. And also, my second point is, it's funny that Samuel Hurd likens field service to tithing, because I remember us always mocking other churches for requiring their parishioners to tithe, which means a tenth. Now all of a sudden Samuel Hurd is likening field service to tithing. It's such a joke. It's as if they sat around a round table and said, okay, so how are we going to put this new policy in place? Oh, I know. Let's just liken it to a tithe and say that, oh, Jehovah wouldn't require that. So, of course, they didn't say we got it wrong. We're just going to do things differently now. So I just wanted to make those.
Well, Elaine, no, I'll kind of answer that question for you. In the full video, Sam Hurd, he goes on to say that elders and circuit overseers will have to be even more discerning shepherds, qualifying that they're going to have to sit down with the brothers and sisters and really see what their attitude is toward the ministry and how they feel about it. So even though they won't be reporting time, the elders and the circuit overseer will kind of be more discerning when it comes to who's reporting time, or at least who's out in the service and who isn't. But that's interesting. I mean, why wasn't this easy for us, Elaine? We used to have to pound the pavement, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, absolutely. So are these poor publishers going to be pressured now if they're not showing up as often as they used to have
show up.
Oh, Elaine, this is just absolutely crazy. When I heard this today, I almost fell on the floor. I couldn't believe it. Thank you, Elaine.
It's amazing.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to 403 Calgary, Alberta. Go ahead, you're on with us.
Hey, you know what? I take this as good news. I used to pray for this way back 50 years ago, and so I mean, maybe my prayers are finally answered. I'll tell you a story. When it'd be about 50 years ago, right now, I was a pioneer, and I remember we had a really nice circuit overseer at the time. I even remember his name still, Brother Jacobson. He was a real nice guy. He was really only a couple years older than me at the time. And I remember him talking about this. He said that they would, back then, there was some discussions that they still had district overseers back then. District overseers and circuit overseers would all get together with the governing body, and he said that there was some discussion even back then about not having people count time because it was supposed to be voluntary and all of that. But of course, they wanted to have good numbers all the time. This may be a way to up their numbers, like you were saying, Rick. You know that now it'd be pretty easy for just about anybody to count time, not feel too bad about it. I know this. There were people who used to lie about their time. It seems hard to believe, but the pressure was so great that people would fudge their numbers. I had a pioneer partner, and frankly, he was actually in another congregation, but we worked together every day. And he told me outright that if he was short on his numbers, he would fudge them. I never ever squealed on him or anything, but at the time I was a bit shocked. But now, at least, I mean, anytime somebody does something kind of right that doesn't, that gives people back more of their freedom, I got to say I'm for it. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
Well, Brian, thank you for the thoughts. Always good to hear from Brian from Canada. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead. You're on with us.
Hey, Rick. Hi, Rick.
Hold on 1 second. Let me call it out. We got so many people calling in. I'm looking at a computer screen that's filled up here with numbers. Let's go with, I'm going to just call out here. Let's go with 614 area code. 614. Go ahead. Okay. Let's go then to 513 area code. 513.
Yeah, Rick, it's King of the Dots, big dots, by the way. And you know what? You and Elaine hit it on the dot. This is going to be very hard on the elders and their assistants because they will be monitoring who's meeting for field service, and they're going to be recording that. Because I know elders used to monitor who came to all 4 days of the assembly, and they do talk about it. We have a lot of people here that do it. And it's been basically a caste system they've used to judge people for, 90 years is what they say. And it's completely unscriptural. But as you might recall, Rick, I always try to question you. Do you recall talk in the back rooms at the elders meetings about the worthless 1 and 2 hour publishers at the hall?
Oh, yeah.
I recall those meetings.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And I'm glad it'll keep a lot of people in because they feel the pressures off of them, okay? But at the same time,
just let me know when it's my turn, Rick.
Okay, thank you so much, Rick.
Okay, King of Dots. Okay, hey, hang on, my good friend Mia. We got so many people want to come in here tonight. Let's go to 614. 614. Go ahead, you run with us. 614. Come on. All right, let's go to 513. I think it's David. Is that your name? Go ahead, David. You run with us, David. All right, let's go to 712. 712.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think a lot of people ain't getting their hours in. And they know that, so they're, you know, I mean, they don't want to run people off because a lot of people are leaving. And this can't look good to somebody possibly coming back in or coming in. Yeah, they're, you know, I mean, you're required to get all these hours. It just, it ain't going to work with people. And I looked at other religions, and that one gal that called in thing is, from what I understand, is giving money. But that's from what I understand. But that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Well, you understand that's good. Yes, go ahead. You're with us.
All right. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
This is JP.
Yes, JP.
Yeah, I was going to say two things. I have two things to say. Like today, I have my mother lives with me, and today some witnesses came and visited us, or her, when they found out the news, they come to find out that they were working the street over, and I think somebody read it on the JW.org that they don't have any more hour requirements. So one of the sisters just took off, and then she came over to my house to tell my mom and say, we don't have no more hour requirements. And, you know, we just, it's good. Like, it's so happy that we don't have to do that. And so she was like, it's nice just to be able to go out and know that I just could knock out on a few doors. And it doesn't mean, you know, that's all we have to do. So she was having breakfast with my mother and stuff, and I just thought that was funny that they were working on the street over, and, you know, the group, as soon as they found out that they didn't, somebody read on JW.org that they don't have to turn in any hours, that they just, as soon as a few of them knocked on a couple of doors, they're like, well, we don't have to finish this street, we'll just take off and we'll come back next week and do a few houses. But, what I was thinking was the reason some of the things that they might be doing with this is I think eventually they're cutting back the hours, but I think maybe in the next annual meeting or something, eventually they're going to cease all the cart work and the door-to-door ministry, because I think that after 100 years, they're finally starting to realize how much of a waste of a time it is. And I think now that they don't require hours, and I'm just saying this now, it may happen in the future, but I might be one of the first ones to call this out, but I think eventually they're not going to have any more field service requirements at all. I think they're just going to eventually just tell people to do informal witnessing, like tell people at the local grocery store or witness to their relatives. And I think like the other churches, like the Baptist and some of the other ones, I think they'll come around once a year around the memorial season, and they'll cover their territory and give out invitations. And I think it just the same as like the Baptists and a lot of the other ones do, they invite you to their Easter service. I think the witnesses will do that with the memorial. And with the ceasing of hours, they don't make any money off it. It's a huge waste of time. They can't sell literature anymore, and they need to have some kind of money coming in. So it wouldn't be a surprise in the near future if they have some kind of a new work or something that involves some kind of a volunteer work that has to go into like construction work. They'll come up with something, the society, that has something to do with making some kind of a profit where they can use people's time. But I think that they have, after 100 years, because the reporting of time, I think, came around like around 1920, early 20s or something like that, when they started after filling out cards in the local ecclesias or you know, congregations at that time. just to report it. So I think they finally realized and they can't charge for literature anymore. So I think they're up to something, and I think there's going to be more coming out just on top of this.
Well, thank you, JP. Well, thank you, JP. Always good to hear from you. So let's go now. Let's take a look. We have got, let's go to New Jersey. Let's go to 732. 732. You're on with us.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much for the sharing. Oh, with this announcement you say about publishers don't get to the time.
Yes.
I think I'm going back to the Jehovah's Witness religion. Well, that's what I hated.
Well, wait a minute. Don't go back to it. I mean, that's probably what the.
Are you kidding me? I would have no problem being a Jehovah's Witness. But I said in the time, I hated national children though. I hated it.
Yeah. Well, you got me thinking here. I hope that wasn't their motive. I hope they weren't thinking, boy, if we just stop people from having to report time, maybe we'll get more witnesses. Don't go back, sister. Don't go back. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
All right, let me know. All right, thank you for calling in from New Jersey. Let's go. Let's go to the United Kingdom. Let's go to Steve. Steve, come on with us.
Hi, Rick. Sorry.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, fascinating. Absolutely comes back to my this myself. Okay. I've got a couple of things to say about it. The first thing really is that, when people were reaching out to be a ministerial servant, one of the things that the elders looked at was the extra time they were doing on the ministry. And of course, they look at their record card to find out that. Well, now, I think there'll be an increase in people who are reaching out. The only way they can really prove that they're increasing in the ministry now is to auxiliary pioneer. So there might be an increase in that going on. And the other thing I wanted to say is a little bit different, and that is about the principle that Samuel Hearns used about the tithing. It's already been mentioned, but the angle that I'm coming at it from is slightly different, in as much as it just goes to show when they want to, how they can use a principle in the Bible to change something that's been set for 100 years. Why can't they use the principle in Deuteronomy about the woman being raped in the field without a witness to get rid of the 2-witness rule? Why can't they use a principle for that? So you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. So that's really, you think that's where they would use a principle, but they neglect to do it, Steve. Hey, Steve, by the way, I want to tell you, you got the secret word for tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got the secret word. You got a $20 gift certificate. I have a secret word every Saturday night. And the secret word, the term tonight was ministerial servants reaching out. And you hit it right on the nose. You hit it right on the nose. So you got a gift certificate. Do they have Dunkin' Donuts in the United Kingdom?
No, to be honest, I have no idea.
Well,
donuts.
Well, okay, so you do.
Donate it to somebody over there.
All right, I mean, I'll do that too, but you do have it. You hit the secret word. The
You
secret.
can send it to me and Tim. I think the donuts is right around the corner.
You can fight amongst yourselves, but
maybe we'll send it to me and T. But that's good, Steve. Ministerial servants reaching out. I mean, it was a 10-hour requirement. That's the unspoken requirement to be a ministerial servant, to be an elder. You have 10 hours. That's what would qualify you for one of these positions. And now anybody could qualify. So maybe what they're trying to do is get more people to qualify to be ministerial servants and elders without reaching that 10-hour limit. That's a magic number, Interesting.
Hi, Rick.
Yes.
Hi, Rick.
Yes, you're on with us. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Rick. It's Tim talking. Yeah, I just to expand upon what Steve was saying, it was also a thing with baptism. Like a lot of people that wanted to get baptized back in the day, myself included, they'd look at your hours and go, "Oh, you're not getting enough if you were getting under the average." And then they'd wait a few months and wait until you bumped it up. So that's going to change a lot in that field as well. But personally, it's like, I just think the whole thing, like every witness has gone, "Oh wow, new life, this is great." This is common sense for years. Anyone with half a brain that got the hours was a load of rubbish. and you know, they're obviously just making it easier because people aren't really showing up anymore. And all it's going to do, in my opinion, is polarize people. In a sense, it's going to make it easier for people who want to be slack to, well, like they'd be celebrating in their minds, and then the ones that love to do the virtue signaling, the ones on the power trip, well, it's like, well, they're going to show the way because they're going to be making sure they're doing auxiliary or regular pioneering and look like they're the good ones. You know, that's all I've got to say, Rick.
Well, thank you very much for checking in. Appreciate it. Really, I mean, really, all the comments are really good. Let's go to 805 California. You're on with us. 805. Go ahead, California.
Hi, I don't want to get my name, but I can't believe this is really happening. It's pretty extraordinary. This has been their number. I don't even know in affect things, but they don't have any scruples as long as their goal essentially is to make money, keep members, and it shows how scared they are because of the internet, because of shows like yours, and they just can't hold on to their members anymore because this is how they scared people. This is the busy work that keeps everybody in, you know, trying to save people and scaring people and telling them that they must go out, otherwise people are going to die. I think it's one of the most biggest grabs for membership I've ever seen, and it's historic, really, because they're not going to be able to take this back. Once they take this out, this is one of their last power plays, and they're going to lose. In the end, they're losing people. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you speaking up here tonight. Thank you for calling in. We really, really, really appreciate everyone's calling in. I think you knew too, so thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's go to 817. 817's on. Let's go ahead.
Hey, Rick. My name.
Go ahead. You're on with us, 817.
Hey, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Matt.
Yes,
Look,
Matt.
the way I see it is that they want people, this will give them an opportunity to actually work secularly more. Therefore, they can make more money to send in for contributions. You know, seeing how that they're losing money on contributions these days. What do you think?
Well, that's a possibility. I mean, we don't know what's up their sleeve, but they love money. I tell you that, they love money. Thank you. We appreciate you coming in from 817. It looks like we got Pasta Babe on with us. Go ahead, Pasta Babe.
This is being presented as relieving the rank and file from such a heavy burden, and basically the being in good standing means that you put in your 10 hours every month, and if you don't for say a consecutive of 6 months, then you're considered inactive, and that's not good. I mean, inactive people are even encouraged to kind of shun them, right?
Yes.
So what he did say was that you would report your Bible studies. Let me tell you, people don't have many Bible studies in the organization right now. And I truly believe that people's spiritual standing will be based upon how many Bible studies they have. I just think that's the case. I mean, we've gone from like, they don't do the yearbooks anymore, so we don't know how many have been baptized, and now we're not going to know how many hours. And people think that they're growing, but yet they're selling properties. You know, they're building a kingdom hall over here, but selling one over there. It's just another thing of making it look like they're doing the rank and file a favor, but it's really going to be more of a burden. That's what I picture it being later on.
Well, Pasta Babe, I agree with you. Now, listen, why don't you tell the people about your program tonight on what's going on? I want you to tell the people so they can listen in.
Oh, thank you, Rick. Hi, everybody. So this is a Pasta Babe, and I get to start my own show on my own channel. And so I've had a chance to break from Rick. It's been a great break, no burnt bridges or anything. But I'll be starting tonight live on my channel, which is Apostle Babe Linda James, at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So that's West Coast. So I'll be live, and you'll be able to call in at think I have the IT stuff figured out, but it might be a little clunky, but I would love for you to be there. If you could show up and just subscribe to my channel, the cost of Linda James, and then show up around 9 o'clock Pacific time, West Coast. And it's going to be very much like I've been doing on this, where I've been just pretty much talking different subjects and just it's been much more casual. So, and I've really enjoyed it. So it's going to be much of the thing. So thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
I'm like tongue-tied. I wasn't expecting you to promote it. Thank you.
Well, no, you listen to Apostle Babe. She'll be on tonight. Go to her. What's the name of the channel, Apostle Babe?
The name of my YouTube channel is Apostle Babe Linda James. So you will get notifications when I come on. And I'll be on at 9 o'clock tonight.
Well, listen to Apostle Babe. She'll be on at 9 o'clock tonight Pacific time. That'll be 12 midnight here on the East Coast. So listen to Apostle Babe. She's a wonderful lady, and we really appreciate what she's done here at the Six Screens. Thank you, Linda. All right, let's take a look and see what else is going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. My goodness gracious, lots of people. You know, in fact, I got thinking, I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know. I throw things on the table. I see what you guys think. But, you know, the rank and file, the average publisher, they won't have to report any time. No time reported for the rank and file publisher. However, pioneers, circuit overseers, special pioneers will have to report time as well as missionaries. So don't you think, I'm just thinking out loud, don't you think that this could create a division? I mean, there already has been a division between people who are pioneers and those that aren't. So now what you have in the congregation, you have all these people, 95% of them, not reporting time. And then you have, 5% that do. Isn't this like making another class? Oh, those 5%, they're the elite witness. Oh, they are the cream of the crop. So don't you see that could happen? It could create further division between people who are pioneers, circuit overseers, those who report time, and those who don't. Do you see the pressure that could be put on people? I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm thinking of all of these things that are going on, and I'm thinking how bad. I just know the annual report, it's not out yet, but it must be bad for the governing body to start changing the arrangement where you don't have to report time anymore. I mean, millions and millions of people. Think about it. You, me, all of the time, all the sacrifice that we put into the preaching work, and now it's up in smoke. All of that wasted time. Isn't that something? Boy, I'll tell you what, I don't feel too great about that. 609, come on in. What do you have to say? 609, you're on with us. Go ahead. I'll unmute you, 609. Okay, 609, go ahead. Speak up. Say hello to us. Yeah. Unmuted. Hit star 6. Hit star 6, 609. All right. Let's go to 906. Go ahead, 906. You're on with okay, go ahead, 609. Yeah, 609, you're on with us. Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to do it.
That's okay.
So I was talking with my husband about this, and I think it can't be a more obvious attempt to hide a downward trend. And like the other caller was talking about how all of a sudden found out about this change out in service, and then everyone was full of breakfast. I'm curious if this is going to backfire on them, because now that people can take a step back and not do as much, what are they going to do instead? They're going to rest a little and use their brains a little bit more, and I think maybe they'll even lose more people. What do you think about it?
Well, no, I got thinking of that. A lot of people are going to say, "Well, geez, I don't have to go out in service anymore. I'm just gonna fade away." No, that's a good thought. I really think that's a good thought. Well, thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. I see you disappeared, but that's a good thought. And thank you for coming on the 6 Screens tonight. 813, run with us. 813, go ahead. You're with us.
Hey, Rick, it's Scott.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I tell you this. I found this in one respect very aggravating. Going back 50 years, I remember my mom being disabled, and she did mostly informal witnessing. And I remember the 2 elders coming to our home and hassling her for not going door to door when she was really doing all she could in the ministry. And then my own wife was extremely introverted and physically got ill at the thought of going door to door. I mean, it just terrified her. It was her personality. She just couldn't do it. So she used to write letters with some of the older sisters. She didn't mind doing that at all. And the elders ended up speaking to her, complaining that she was putting in too much time when she should have been going door to door because letter writing was for the older ones. And again, she was putting in time. And I recall a circuit overseer hassling the elders once in a ministerial elder meeting that if more of them didn't put service time in, the next time he came back, some of them wouldn't be elders. And I remember an elder telling me that if I really wanted to impress the elders to become an elder, put in time, put in as much time as you possibly can, and that's what will impress the elders. So it makes me wonder how they're going to do that now. How are they going to know that a brother is putting in those kind of hours in order to qualify as a ministerial servant? Is it going to make it easier for them, most likely, to appoint ministerial servants or elders? But I really find this amazing after, like some 50 years that I've busted my rear end going door to door and putting time in. Month after month, making sure my wife and kids did, and now it's virtually not a requirement. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, and really, Scott, stop and think about it. It does make us sick. All of that time and effort, and how easy it is for witness today. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for checking in with us. We're gonna go to 614. Go ahead, 614. You run with us.
Hey, Rick, it's Michael. How you doing, bud?
Mike, I'm cranking away at it. Yes.
Hey, you like Groucho Marx with the secret word now.
Yeah.
Take that from him.
Oh, yeah. I did, yeah. I saw it.
But anyway, I think it's an effort to hide the poor performance that's happening in the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and the different publishers. And honestly, Rick, I feel sorry for the people in Columbus and around the Columbus, Ohio area if they go out into service or they go door to door, because we have trained people out here right now that when they come to your door, they're going to hear the gospel and they're going to hear other things that go on in the organization. We have little group studies and Bible studies all over the southern part of Columbus that actually train people that learn how to talk to Jehovah's Witnesses when they come to your door, to give them the true gospel of Jesus Christ. So maybe they don't even want people going out to service. That might be a thing to discuss, because now they're starting to get it the other way now.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't think of that. But maybe that's one of their motives, because, people are getting bombarded. They're knocking on people's doors. They're going out in the cart work, and they're being attacked. Maybe that could be part of the motive. I didn't think about that. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, Rick, we got people that hung out for cart people. They know where the carts are, and they go witness to them.
Yeah, well, maybe they're saying, listen, enough is enough. We are seeing, Mike, we are seeing the collapse of a religion in this country. There's no question about it. People have had enough. It's going down. Thank you, Mike. Always good to hear from you. All right, let's go back to 712. 712, you run with us. Go ahead.
Hey, Rick, like you were talking, I think this could be a trap as far as, in the congregations, they would say, well, look at this brother and look at this sister, and they're going out and service all this hours, and you others ain't doing this. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe that could be possible motive right there.
Well, that could be. That it really could be. Jeff, you're on the ball. I mean, we're listening to everyone's comments tonight. I'm taking them all to heart. Thank you. Let's move on. Let's go to 315. 315, you're on with us. Go ahead.
Hi, Rick. This is Joe.
Joe, Joe. Okay, Joe. I didn't realize it was you. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Great program. I'm just thinking, I don't think they're considering covering their territory anymore. Because if they had to cover territory, it would be restricted to just the pioneers and the auxiliary pioneers. And for the life of me, I don't see how they would enjoy having to do that on their own without the help of the rest of the publishers putting in a lot of hours. So I think some serious changes are going to be in the offing.
Well, Joe, now I have to tell you and Fran, I know you probably heard the news today somewhere along the trail. What was your first reaction to reporting no time? I'm curious. Yeah.
Oh boy, I mean, it's like they're ashamed of the numbers, so they're just trying to ignore them. They don't want to show them anymore because they know the numbers are horrible.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got too, that there's got to be a motive behind this. You just don't come out and, I mean, that was really something that worked for the Watchtower for so many years. We all had to go in service. We had to get the time in. People were stressed out about it. But now all of a sudden they're coming out of the governing body meeting and suggesting that, there's no reason to report time anymore. I mean, why did they do that when we were in, Jeez.
Well, we look forward to more of the mistakes that they're going to make.
Oh yeah. Well, Joe, thank you very much. I mean, really, it's good to hear from you. No, seriously, it's something. I mean, I was shocked. My phone was ringing off the hook today. People were calling me. I'm getting emails. Rick, have you heard this or that? Boy, I couldn't believe it. When I said, what in goodness name's sake? They dropped that. And there's some other rumors floating around too. I mean, don't take it to the bank and cash it. But also, I got people sending me things here today at our 6 Screens clearinghouse. I got people saying that they're no longer going to hold you accountable if you leave the truth. Now, whether it's a fact or not, I don't know. Don't take it to the bank and cash it, as I say. But I have a number of people that have given me information today that what was said at the governing body meeting today, that you can leave the organization if you want and nothing will happen to you. But I can't confirm that. I cannot confirm that. Yeah.
Rick, just additionally, and I'm waiting for the governing body to start admonishing the publishers for being too insensitive or shunning the rest of the friends. I think they're going to blame the friends for shunning each other.
I'll tell you, it could come to that, Joe. I wouldn't discount that. It could come to that, yes.
Hey, Rick, it's Fran.
Oh, yes, Fran. Yes, Fran.
I had to share something with you. One of our friends that still hear what's going on because they have a family relative that's in, so they apparently the rumor is, or news is that Joe and Fran have lost their mind, and we're dressing kind of poorly. We had to laugh. This is what's going on, in the congregation, because we know we were in so many congregations. We know so many, and I just thought that was funny that we'd lost our mind, Joe and Fran. And we're dressing kind of poorly because we went to the cart at the train station, and we walked by them and we said hello, and of course they ignored us. But anyway, just want to let everyone know we lost our mind.
Well, I mean, I don't see you lost your mind. I think you guys have gained so much intelligence in the last couple of years. It's not even funny. Thank you, Fran. That's funny. Thank you. 916.
I have a point to Joe and Fran, Rick.
Go ahead. Yeah, then we're going to bring 916 on. So hold on, Kim, is it? Go ahead, Eric. Yep.
Joe and Fran lost their minds. I have abusive speech. Get the rage against the governing body. It's all slander. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, well, good for you. Well, I mean, it's all
nice being popular.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, the Watchtower is beginning to really hate us, Joe. They really are. We got 916. Go ahead, 916. You're on with us. Let's hear from you.
I was thinking that it could be that they're trying to get the youth back in service, or to get them to come back and to the meetings and things, because mostly the kids are hating it and stuff, and maybe to get some of the the faders back or something. I don't know. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But I wanted to add, I like to watch Mormon stories sometimes, because one of the things that woke me up was, we were not allowed to watch anything apostate about us, but there was no rule that we couldn't learn about other religions. So one of the things that woke me was watching all kinds of cult stuff, and anyway, well, there is a new documentary on Netflix called Keep Sweet, Pray, and Obey. And oh my goodness, it's about the, what do they call it? Fundamentalist, Mormons. I can't see the right one. I forgot the name, but anyway, I have a squeaky thing that beeps in my house. I cannot locate it. It's like a fire, whatever. It's in my room. I can't find it. I'm sorry. It squeaks. I can't stop it. But anyway, the Mormons, the fundamentalist ones that have a bunch of wives or whatever, polygamists, they are so like JWs. And not only just the way they dress, but a lot of the things the way they practice. And also they torture the members with the Armageddon constantly. Fire coming down on them and all this kind of stuff. And so if you watch that documentary, watch it with your relatives if you can. I happen to live in a situation where I caretake for a member that is a witness, and I'm able to actually sometimes she hears this, even hears a little bit of, and it's helping her to not see XJWs as non-persons. And so she'll hear little snippets of some happy comment, so it's made her see XJWs as people, and I see her changing a little bit in a good way for us. But anyway, she's older, so I can't force her to change it or anything, but I'm hoping she'll come out, because nobody pays any attention to her unless she goes out in service, and the only kind she does is Zooming. So she essentially has no friends, and it's just really sad. It's very, very sad, and all her kids are out. So, I mean, essentially she just sees us as all dead, and lets me know it.
Well, Kim, always good to hear from Kim. Thank you, Kim, for dialing in. Appreciate it. Don't you ever change. You just keep staying Kim, okay? Okay. All right. Well, anyways, they're not reporting time. The governing body today said that no more reporting time for the rank and file witness to publishers. Isn't that something? So let's go down to...
Can I come?
Go ahead. You're with us, sir. Go ahead.
This is Zachary.
Exactly. Okay.
Rick, this is, to me, this is so big. I'm telling you. It's like there must be apostates leading the organization now. This is the first I'm hearing of it here on Extreme. But I think about it in our ministry book, the organization book, one of those books, they said the reason why we were counting time, we were making a report like we were, was that they pointed to Acts where they said so many souls were added, like 3,000 souls were added, 5,000 souls were added. There were 120 in that upper room. And so they pointed to that as reporting done by the Christians. And they said that we don't know what the requirement will be of us in the new system to report the work that was done during that conclusion of the system of things. So that was the reason they used all that time. So now, what's going to happen when they get into the new system? You know, what kind of report do they claim they're going to give now? I think that they're doing this probably because the hours are so sad. The hours, you know, everybody's low hour, or a majority of people are low hour publishers, as they used to call them. That excuse he gave, you know, the benefits of doing it this way, one of them was, now we know how many publishers there are. We can count the publishers. Well, they always counted the publishers from the splits of paper. They counted them up at the year end, and they looked at who was activated, who became inactive. They could see how many were, as they called them, irregular. So to say that this helps them to count the publishers, it doesn't improve anything when it comes to counting publishers. And then they also said it tells them how many people, or how many Bible studies are being conducted with people. Well, that was always put on the report. So there's no improvement there. I really do think it's just not enough time being counted, and that their reports, if they compile them, they would really be very negative, and they don't want to report negative news about the witnesses. It also, I think that there was a problem too, a difficulty when it came to appointing elders and ministerial servants. It used to be that if you made more than 5 hours or you were in the 6 or 7 hour, 8 hours, that was considered okay to be a ministerial servant. And then one time the circuit overseer came around and said, you know, really, if it's under 10, that's low hours. So this thing I saw happen in the congregation where for a while we had an even number of elders and an even number of ministerial servants. And the ministerial servants were basically making, you know, they were getting enough hours in. And they kept, they moved up and they were becoming elders. But new ministerial servants, that was becoming thin because you weren't getting new ministerial servants because nobody was making this. Too many people were like 7 hours, 8 hours. So you had this situation, at least we had in our congregation, where you had elders, more elders than ministerial servants, and you had about twice as many, about 6, 7, 8 elders, and only about 3 ministerial servants. The other thing you mentioned was that hailstone, that message changing.
Yes.
They finally got around to that, huh? When I was a kid, I remember I have an older sister, and she said, "Oh, after one of the assemblies, we're going to be preaching the judgment. We're going to be going to people and telling them that they're going to die soon." And I heard about that as a kid, and you know that never happened. I don't know if it was supposed to happen before 75, but it did never happen. But later on, I remember sometime in the early 90s, there was a Watchtower study, and they told us we were going to be preaching a harder message. And they said it would be a hailstone-like message. And they also said that if people did not respond to the soft waters of truth, they would probably not respond to these harder congealed messages, you know, congealed water, hard water. They would not respond to that message. So to me, to hear this is like a lifetime of this stuff was supposed to happen, and now it's like they're just throwing it out there because maybe there's nothing else to do. When you're in the street, the only thing you see with witnesses is people standing at the carts.
No longer do I see people doing street work. There used to be a lot of witnesses out doing street work, but not anymore. They're just the cart people. So that's all I had to say.
All right. Well, no, in fact, I'll tell you, Zach, we were talking, you might have missed it at first, but on JW Broadcasting this week, they put up a new video and talking basically about the Great Tribulation, and you could say the hailstone message. And we talked a little bit about that. They're really bringing this forward. I know even when I was younger, my mother used to always say to me, Rick, now this would have been back in the 1960s, early 60s, late 50s. Ricky, now, you have to be good to Jehovah or he'll hit you with a hailstone and you'll die at Armageddon. Imagine that. That's what we learned back then. That's what we.
Why are you stressing me, Rick?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Mia, hold on 1 second. Mia, well, why do you want to change the subject right now? We got a lot of momentum.
I'm not changing it.
Okay, well, okay, so Zachary's done, so let's bring Mia on. Go ahead, Mia.
No, I'm not. I wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I recently was talking to an active witness, and we were talking about pioneering, and how she was telling me that some of the people were removed from the list because they weren't making their time. And I said, but they don't have to make that much time. And I said, why is it so special to pioneer? Isn't it kind of to have that name? And I reminded her, and I think I learned it here on 6 Screens, I think you may have played something, that they said when the circuit overseer visits a congregation, people can auxiliary pioneer with only making 15 hours. I mentioned that to her. She didn't disagree with that. Okay, that's all I had to say.
Well, good. Thank you, Zach, for weighing in.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to.
That shows how low.
Okay.
Phone number?
No, I don't.
You don't. Oh my gosh.
Well,
Zach's conversation with you a couple of years ago. But no, Rick, I'm not trying to change the subject. I'm telling you I'm better than hell. That all of a sudden you don't have to count time.
Why are you mad?
Because I had to count time.
So you don't think?
Are you upset about that?
Yeah, no, it didn't. When I first heard the news today, I said, "Geez, all that time I used to put in." I mean, really, my first wife, Inez, I mean, she was stressed out about it. I mean, if she didn't
They called me. Oh, we didn't get your time. We missed you at the meeting, by the way, but did you turn in your time this month? Do you remember those phone calls?
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, hey, they wicked us. They were ugly about it. And the elders' wives who were tasked to call us and say, remind us, we didn't get your time. We missed you at the meeting. Duh.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
That's not changing the subject, Rick.
No, it's not. Okay, so we'll go with that. Well, thank you. We're going to listen to you more later on.
I'm better than hell right now over the team.
All right. Well,
and I'm putting it on all my Facebook.
All right.
You are getting the news right now. You no longer have to turn your filter.
All right. Well, you just
I want everybody to be as angry as I am.
Well, okay. Well, you have a right.
That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you, Martha. Thank you, man. Okay, let's go to. It looks like I don't want to really mention the name, but I'll give you a first name, Anna. Anna, you on with us? You're on with us. Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, hello, Mr. Finnan.
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good, Anna. I'm doing good. So, where are you calling in from?
From London.
London. Well, very good, Anna. So,
yeah.
What's on your mind tonight, Anna? What's on your mind?
Well, I just was going to say that we know that Watchtower really doesn't do anything without a dubious reason. They don't do it out of the goodness of their heart, put it that way. They're not doing it so that they can give the publishers a break. There's definitely a reason behind it. I'm not sure what that is yet, but I did wonder whether Tony Morris's leaving has anything to do with these decisions that they're making, because I can imagine him being a bit old school and perhaps perhaps they have been discussing this for a while, for whatever reason they have. And perhaps it came up in their meetings, and Tony was really adamant and didn't want to stop the service time reporting. And it did cross my mind, are there a few changes afoot, and perhaps one of the reasons, or the reason that he has left or been pushed out, whatever it is because he disagrees with some of these ideas. Or perhaps this would be amazing if he actually is woken up because of it. You know, the fact that they are bringing all this stuff up and deciding, yeah, they don't have to come anymore. Maybe he's woken up. Maybe he's realized this isn't the truth. This isn't the religion that I signed up for. You know, that I gave up my career in the military for. You know, that my children gave up grandchildren for. You know, really. Yeah. So I just wondered.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good thought. I mean, that's a possibility. I never tied Tony Morris into all of this, but you know, that's why we have the call here. We have people give their thoughts and opinions, and I like your opinion. Thank you for dialing in and giving us your opinion. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All righty. All right.
Okay.
Okay, okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, who was that? We got so many people calling in tonight. So who is this? Go ahead, you're with us.
Canada.
Canada. Oh, it's okay. That's a protester girl. Okay, go ahead, protester. Yes.
You got it. You got it. Okay, what I want to say is I want to say two things. First of all, I think that this is part of their end of days plan, as in the organization saying that, you know, as the preaching work starts to tie up, things are going to change. And I think that by having people not, you know, report their hours, I think this is going to feed into the narrative that will come shortly about it being the last days, and that they're going to be sharing the, you know, doomsday message basically to everybody, and it's the final part of the last day. And the second thing I want to say is that the last time I was at Georgetown Bethel, one of the brothers coming out of the gate with a car group, as I passed by them, I don't know if I called in about this, but I was threatened to be run over, and he got so close to me that I could hear him talking through his windshield.
Wow, that is terrible. That is terrible, protester. So that actually, no, in fact, I know what you're talking about. I've seen that happen to me as well when we were protesting in the Kingdom Hall. Some of the people came a little bit too close for comfort, you know?
Yeah, and it was very upsetting. So I don't feel safe going back. I started protesting that day alone, and I noticed that the brother who usually comes up in his vehicle to watch us protest. So there's a pickup truck that always comes up with a sort of an overhead light for nighttime, and he always comes up just on the inside of the headquarters and always sits there watching. But this time he got out of the vehicle and came up to the guardhouse and looked, and I think he was looking for the vehicle that myself and my partner come in to, you know, you know, we go park and then go over and protest. And I think he was looking to see if I had my male counterpart with me, and I think he did see, and then he went back into his vehicle and waited. But it was after that, maybe an hour after that, this brother came out and he said, "You better move or I'm going to run you over." And I just thought, you know what? They look at us apostates. And, you know, the funniest thing is all I had was the sign that said, do you drink milk? Then you are drinking blood, basically, because there's white blood cells in any dairy product. So it really pissed him off. And, yeah, he wanted to run me over because of that.
Well, no, I mean, that's a threat. That's a threat, you know? Jeez.
I really should have reported it because at the front gate they do have a one of those fish eyes, and I could have reported it, but I was so shaken up by it that we just decided to leave and go home because it was too intense. So anyway, that's the latest. Just want to say thank you for your program, and I'm going to start doing some more covert peaceful protesting because I can't trust these end of days mentality, you know, these people with that end of day mentality. And I'm also concerned for families if this narrative starts to be really preached by the brothers, the governing body, because I am concerned about more murder-suicides, to be honest.
Well, thank you for chiming in. Something to be concerned about. Thank you, Protesta. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Well,
Bye-bye.
well, we do have we do have a big protest coming up on Halloween Day down in Washington D.C. I'm going to try to be there if all goes well. We do have some health issues here with my wife, but if all goes well, I'm going to be down there and the Washington D.C. protest. And we encourage anyone. It's going to be a big protest, from what I understand. So if all goes well, I'll be there. We'll do a live broadcast right there. And if all goes well after the protest, I'll have a hotel room, and we will have people come back to the hotel room and ask them what their thoughts are and interview them right here on the 6 Screens Live on Saturday night. So we're looking forward to Halloween Day, and hopefully all things remain good here, and I'll be able to go down there and do it and bring my signs down, and we can have a great protest down in Washington, D.C. Okay, we had Dan Clark. Dan Clark was on here earlier. Dan, if you want to come back, the forum, I see you came in a few times. The forum is now open. If you'd like to come on, Dan Clark, I did see you on here earlier. If you'd like to speak up, now would be the time.
Hey there, Rick.
Yes, Dan, people have been asking, when's Dan tonight? They want to hear from Dan. Yeah, they're getting all excited. Go ahead.
I'm kind of speechless. I can't believe it,
Yeah.
I just know, but one thing that kind of was interesting, you remember when they shrunk the meetings? They shrunk the times, they shrunk the days, and, then they shrunk the Watchtower. I wonder if they're just slowly fading out. I mean, really and truthfully, we all know that heart witnessing doesn't bring anybody in. I mean, you can go by, I don't care how many cards. These guys are just standing there talking with each other, looking at their watches, playing with their cell phones. They're not beating on doors, reading scriptures and convincing people. So the preaching work, to me, Rick, was already dead before. It was already gone. And so it's like they're slowly fading out. They gave these cards and they gave them something to do. But, you know and I know that governing body and them are number crunchers. And the numbers aren't there. We know they're not there. And the people in the congregation aren't stupid. When you look around the Kingdom Hall and you see half of them left, and there's hardly nobody there, and nobody's going out in service. Half the people are staying home because of COVID. You know what I mean? They can count too. So they know that. So they can't really, BS them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just interesting. And I know the publishers love it, because I know when they shrank the congregations, I drove through an old neighborhood that there were some people that knew me. And this was 20 years ago. And they're like, hey, man, oh my God, they changed the meetings. It's wonderful now. We go to half the meetings. And I'm like everybody else, do not forsake the gathering of yourself together, as some have the custom, but all the more so. And all the more so is gone. And that is so interesting, Rick. I can hardly wait to see what's next. And I guess my question for you, Rick, do you think they're going to set up a playground or play bingo in the halls?
Well, I think that's a possibility, Dan. I wouldn't rule anything out, but I wanted to get your first reaction when you first heard that today about not counting time. I mean, what's the first thing that ran through your head? I'd be curious to find out.
I just know they're done. That's how they got their numbers, Rick. We were workers when we were in there. And I just heard it 5 minutes ago. I had to tune in a little late. So I came in and I didn't know what was going on. So I was listening for a while. But I guess I'm thinking they're done. because Rick, there's nobody can come in. It must be just a floodgate open of people going out. They just can't stop it. Like you always say, the word you use is a hemorrhage, because you cannot make disciples, Rick, with the carts. You have to beat on the doors. You have to make return visits. You have to take them to the hall. There's no halls to take them to. The halls are being sold off. You know what I mean? The halls are small. If you walk into a hall, there's creepy music. You know, it's a weird structure. It's authoritarian. People don't want it anymore. It's just a dying cult. It's an old-fashioned dying cult, and there's a few diehards left. The assemblies have shrunken down. I don't think there's anything left, Rick, and I think they know it. I think the bean counters have said there ain't nobody coming in. There's too many apostates, Rick.
Well, let me give you some statistics on what you're saying. What you're saying is not incorrect. I've got the numbers right in front of me. From 2020 to 2022, the number of Jehovah's Witness congregations globally decreased by 2,427. This decrease is clear evidence the organization is shrinking. It's not growing. And from 1962 to 2022, there were 13,488,531 million baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses. Yet, as we look around the world today, there are only 8.7 million, according to their numbers. So we see that the baptisms in the Jehovah's Witness organization are shrinking like crazy. So these are numbers that are supported by, their own works, their own reports. So Dan, you're not incorrect in saying they're shrinking. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Rick? Do you think it just would be so weird? I know the brothers will love it. I know they'll love the fact that they don't have to count their time, and I know they'll look for all sorts of other reasons to count their time, like we do, right? But my question is this, Rick: why are they making them so comfortable? And you know, we're all watching. This is like a great show we're watching. You know, this thing get dismantled. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens next, Rick. They're putting them all to sleep. I mean, the worst case scenario. Okay, it's your turn to guard the Kingdom Hall. You know, there's nobody there. You know, I just wonder how long these guys are going to sleep, the brothers that are in, because the awake's gone, the books are gone, it's all on the iPad. And it's like we said before, is the only thing going to be left is an internet connection and the unplugged. And I'm wondering if they're going to take a chip. I know we don't want to talk about that in the show, but I'm just wondering if that's the next thing. They've had them do the other dirty deeds, so that's coming down the pike. But I don't know, Rick. It just seems like it's dismantling. They're putting the brothers to sleep. They're doing less and less and less, and they're just going to get lazy. It's kind of like, you said it a while ago, Rick, something about, I forget what I was going to say, but it's almost like they're trying to scare them away. You know, saying babies are an enemy of Jehovah and all this stuff they said. It's almost like they're trying to get them to dismantle on their own. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. In fact, we brought that up before, Dan. It's almost like they really are trying to get the witnesses to leave. It's a strange thing. It's very strange, but they're certainly not offering any. In fact, even I mentioned a little earlier, I don't know if you were listening, but all day long I've been getting emails coming in because of the annual meeting. It's like a clearinghouse here. 6 Screens has become like a clearinghouse for JW World News. So people have been writing me and emailing me and calling me all day long and messaging me. But also it was brought up, and I can't confirm it. Don't take it to the bank and cash it. Please don't do that, because I don't know. But what was brought to my attention by numerous people today was the fact that they were also talking about at the annual meeting that you can leave the truth now and nothing will happen to you if you don't want to be a Jehovah. Yeah. Did you hear something about that?
Somebody told me that, and it was a witness. It was somebody told a witness who was an ex-witness, and I heard the same thing. But like you said, I can't prove it. But they're just pulling back, Rick. They have to. They can't lie anymore. That Australian commission was all over. Everybody saw them lie.
everybody saw it and say we don't quarantine people in the back of the hall and we let them mingle with the people. We all saw them false-faced lies. So everything is in the light now, Rick. Everything has been brought into the light. And there's no hiding. Watchtower can't hide themselves under a rock. I mean, the light is shining bright. And I have always said this before, and I know nobody likes it, but I just say, you know, because they haven't repented, that organization could maybe, and I'm probably wrong, could have maybe been used for something good if they would have repented and stopped this false prophecies. But the fact that they don't even care, they don't even acknowledge it. I mean, Rick, they've been false prophesying for over 100 years. They've never acknowledged it. When we were at that assembly, that brother basically told me, he was looking at me like I was insane. And all he was doing is mimicking his leaders, which were governing body. And he said, nothing happened in 75 and nothing happened in the generation prophecy. And did you hear something happen? And nothing happened in the generation. He told me that was like the clearest face. And he said, absolutely not. We don't do that with this fellowshipping. You could be back in 3 months if you decide to come back. So I watched the man totally conditioned, totally bought in, hook, line, and sinker. They changed the whole thing. That guy, I mean, he'd been in there 60 years or something, and he said that 75 never happened. And I went, oh my God. So it's just mind-boggling to watch this thing, but to see the assemblies empty, the big district assemblies, and there's 3,500 people there instead of, 30,000 and stuff like that. It just isn't. I just can't see it going on, Rick. Personally, I'm just waiting for the next thing. Here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering this. I'm wondering what they're going to ask them, the crazy thing they're going to ask them before they go out. I'm thinking this. They're going to steal their asses blind. While they got them under brainwashing, and while they got them in a beautiful, relaxed state, taking away the hours. Hey, you can trust you guys, just turn in your hours. And it's all good. Pioneers, hey, it's half the hours. Hey, the load is light. So I'm wondering what these people are going to have to give for this relief that they've got. I know they're going to love it, but at the same time, I think Watchtower may hit them with the big, we're going to ask you to do something that you may not feel like it's the right thing to do, but we need you to do it anyway. Anyway, that's the first.
Well, no, you got me thinking with that. I mean, we know the Watchtowers are greedy bums. We know they're always looking for something that they don't usually. I mean, as long as I was in the Watchtower 50 years, they never in any way treated me or any witness I knew with any level of respect. Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out and, well, you guys don't have to report time anymore. You just mentioned something that got me thinking. Is there something up their dirty sleeves? Is there something up their dirty sleeves? Something doesn't pass the smell test here, It really doesn't.
It's better than the world turns, isn't it, Rick? It's better than the world turns.
Dan, I have to tell you.
It's crazy to watch.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's crazy to watch. I come on here and I just listen to all the changes every week, and it's just mind-boggling. And I have to say, like that lady from Canada that's coming in, the Watchtower people that are out there are very, very, very aggressive now and nasty. And I had another lady tell me, I think I mentioned in another one of your shows, but she met some people out the door-to-door, 2 men, and they literally bawled her out. They said, we're so glad. She mimicked basically Toni Morris. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're so glad when you're going to be wiped off the face of the earth. And she went away crying. And they're getting very bold and nasty and hard, and but their infrastructures. And that's what I want to say to Joe and Fran. Be glad you lost your Watchtower mind. We all have to lose our Watchtower mind. They built a damn temple in us. They built their temple literally within us. And we had mediums and mediators, which were governing body, and all that infrastructure came down. So in a sense, when we lose our mind, we can be born anew, right?
Well, that's what they say. Now, what was strange, Dan, is you got me thinking about in our earlier moments here at 6 Screens tonight. You might not have been on, but JW Broadcasting this week on the streaming show they do, the broadcasting update. Anyways, they showed a young boy. I played the clip. It was a young man, I should say, probably about 22 years old. And he didn't want to preach this hailstone, doomsday, tribulation message. So he was kind of embarrassed about doing that. And he was at a train station or bus station or somewhere. and he had the little card. He had the JW.org sign as well. So he was afraid to speak up and tell the people about Armageddon coming, and you're not going to survive unless you change your way of doing business. And so he covered up some of the people looking at him. So he covered up the JW.org. So evidently people are getting concerned about witnessing. They don't want to go out in the public and tell people they're going to be hit with a hailstone and die at Armageddon. So
is that what I missed that part? Is that what they're doing? They're telling people that
in fact, all this week it's been brought up on all over the internet. I mean, numerous posts about it, about the hailstone message. And so the witnesses that to preach this message of doom, that according to Revelation, the 13th chapter, the hailstones are going to kill the people in Armageddon and all of this. So they seem to really be ramping that up. So a lot of the witnesses are getting a little edgy. They don't like the idea of hitting people head on and telling them, unless you change your lifestyle, you're not going to make it. So obviously that's happening, because I'm on JW broadcasting this week. They had a portion of the video all about that. So people must be kind of ashamed to even try to change someone's lifestyle. So it's a changing organization, Dan. I have to tell you that.
Hey, Rick,
yes.
Can you imagine going up to say a Vietnam vet and say you're going to be stoned to death by God? I mean, set them up to get their asses beat.
Oh, you
know, hell does it. It's a judgment. It's a judgment of them. If you don't believe like we do, and you're going to be stoned to death. That's a horrible message. That's Rick again. Are they trying to get them to leave? Are they trying to get them to say, I'm not preaching this shit?
I don't get it. But on the other hand, you have this Robert Hendricks, the spokesman for the Watchtower. He doesn't talk about this. He doesn't talk about the hailstorm message. He doesn't talk about the Great Tribulation. He always comes on, puts a smile on, and Jehovah's Witnesses are great. They're doing this, they're doing that. He never tells you that you have to change your lifestyle to even be a witness. So these are all PR points. The Public Relations Department, Public Information Department, as they call it, is putting out. But the real news is what they say on JW.org and what Robert Hendricks says is two different things. Strange.
God almighty.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it feel like, Rick, like you're being slimed by Watchtower? I mean, when you watch it, it just feels slimy, gooey. It
does feel that way. It feels that way, Dan. But I'll tell you what, there's so many people waking up. I mean, really, the game is over. The monkey died. The circus is over, as we say. It is.
I agree 100%.
Nowhere where they can go. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, let's face it. I watch the business news. If you have a business that's constantly losing, you cannot say that it's doing great. This is what the Watchtower is doing. They're making it sound so wonderful to the witnesses, but they are losing big time. They are liars, Dan.
You know something, Rick? When I saw my uncles and them, they've been in for 50, 60 years. And, Bethelites, all this stuff, I don't know all their titles, but they all were on the funeral. Every one of them looked so tired. Every one of them looked so beat up. And I swear to God, Rick, it seems like they couldn't even move their lips. My uncle goes, Dan, you still believe you come back to Jehovah? It was so, it was so, I don't even know how to say it. It took up energy to talk. And I said, no, I never did. And I gave my little spiel and about following man. But all my relatives around there, Rick, I hadn't seen them. Shame on them, but I haven't seen my relatives in 45, 50 years. All my aunts and cousins all had gray hair. They were all married with kids grown. And it was just a shame. And I looked at them and I said, my uncle said, they're going to know us by our love, by the love we have, which is, just the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I thought, you don't have no love. I didn't say that, but it's like, you have no love. I haven't seen these guys in years, Rick. I mean, I had a tear run down my eye. I was like, look at my aunt. She's great. And I remember when she was a little kid, I was holding her hand, walking her down the street.
and there was my brother there, just kind of hunched over, and there's my uncles, and yeah, you know, and it was just sad to see. It was like a whole portion of my life has been stole by those bastards. You know what I mean? It's literally stole. I mean, not only mine, but my family was destroyed. I didn't get to know my wonderful grandma. My wonderful grandma read her Bible every day. Was really a wonderful person. And when I went over there, my dad scolded me and said, "Get your ass home, boy. And unless you're giving her a Watchtower, I want you to have no discussion whatsoever with her." So I never got to meet my wonderful grandma, who had a wonderful church, and I didn't even get to know him. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off subject, but it was just really sad to see that with my family. I know a whole lot of other
Well, no, it is sad. It is sad, but I wonder what I want to bring up as well. You know, when I first heard the message today, and people were calling me and emailing me, and Rick, at the annual meeting, my goodness, we heard that they're not going to have to report time anymore. The first thing that hit my mind. Now, my former wife, her name was Inez, and she died. And she was she got other witnesses before she died. But what got me really ticked off is my former wife used to get so stressed out when she was a witness. You know, she'd been in the hospital. She wasn't a healthy woman. Let's go with that. And in the end, she had a lot of difficulties. But she'd be in the hospital, and I go to visit her, and she'd say, "Rick, I have no time in. What am I going to do?" I mean, she's sick, and she's being stressed out by this organization. And I'm thinking, you know, and then they'd even say, "Well, I'd preach to the doctors, I preach to the nurses." And, you know, she'd be so stressed out, she could hardly even talk. But yet at the same time, you try to get some time in preaching to them. And, you know, they just added so much stress to her life. I'm not going to say that's what caused her to die. I wouldn't say that. But it didn't help anything. Geez, all the people are stressed out by this organization. But, you know, that's the first thing I thought of. Now all of a sudden they're coming out and saying, "Well, don't worry about it. You don't have to report time." Where were they when we needed them? You know? Yeah.
Yes, you know what, Rick? I was praying the other day, and you know what thought came to my mind? And I did a video on it. And the video said, "Are Jehovah's Witnesses promoting ethnic cleansing?" And I said, "Is there a better way?" And I said, "Shame on me for 40 years preaching and hoping for an ethnic cleanse." And if you look up the definition, it's about the hatred of, you know, other people, because they hate the world, they hate Satan's world, and they want everybody gone. And so I said, but when you look at ethnic cleansing, when you look at Hitler, when you look at Mussolini, I said, has the world changed? And then I said, would the world change if it was only Jehovah's Witnesses? Let's say Jehovah did genocide everybody, ethnic cleansed it all, and then wham, had the purest, you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses on there, and said it would be better. And I read a list of 20 things. I said pedophilia, abandonment of children, narcissism, you know, I just went down this big long list, and I said, suicide, this, that. I said, are they any different than the world? But think about that, Rick. They are promoting genocide. They're promoting ethnic cleansing. I mean, it really is. That's a strong word. I know, but that's what came to me. And I thought, my God, we would hope when we hear peace and security on the radio, we'd all run to the radio. Go, they just said peace and security. What is peace and security? Sudden destruction on them, on all of them out there, every man, woman, and child, genocide. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, I did a little video on it because.
And
yeah.
Dan,
sorry.
Yeah. I was going to add something to what you just said. You were talking about like with Hitler and the genocide and everything. I really think that, you know, we were just talking about the new system of things, which is a whole new way of doing everything. Well, this new world order is a new system of things. It's a new way of doing everything. And I think part of what the Watchtower Society is doing with the brothers and sisters is really, like you said, they're exhausted, they're tired, they're not preaching. You know, they might just stand on the corner with the cart, which I've always thought was ridiculous. But all of that was part of dumbing down everybody in the organization, but it's also going on in the schools, all of the schools, from pre-kindergarten to university level.
everybody's being dumbed down because, oh, and about the communist like Hitler was, if you read, I think it's the Marxist Communist Manifesto, this is all part of it. The making wrong things seem, making black seem white, making, destroying families. Watchtower is all part of that. And I think that is the thing. As witnesses, yeah, and I think as witnesses, we were really an experiment to see exactly how many people they could trick into believing all the nonsense that we were taught and believed. But now, then COVID came. Again, how many people can we convince? Well, look at how many got that. Well, I hate how much you can talk about them here. But anyway, and people are dying more and more, younger and younger. And there's a program I watched that's coming from Great Britain, the doctor, and he's saying that, there's always a certain number of people that die regularly, that the numbers have skyrocketed on every level. And it's really scary. And then I think all of this is part of the globalist movement, to get people to destroy others, to destroy morals, to destroy, everything that's good. They're making it bad, but they're making it seem like it's all okay. We can do this. There's no problem. Let's do this. And all of it is leading, and then today, with the war in Israel starting, they're massacring the Hamas.
Okay, Debbie, we're not gonna get into that right now. We're still okay. We're not gonna get into that right now. We'll bring that later. Okay. All right. We're gonna. Well, thank you, Debbie. Thank you for calling in. We're gonna go to 919. 919. Come on, you're on with us. Go ahead, 919.
Yes. How you doing? My name is Christopher.
Yes, Christopher. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. This is my comment, Rick. The organization is really trying to have an appearance based on this relaxation of the no hours being reported, have that appearance or facade of being mainstream. Like you guys were saying, when you have a newly converted JW and they're going out in field service, they may accept the scriptural teachings, but when it's time to go out in service, you may be a little more reluctant. By not having those hours reported, then you don't have that same pressure to go out. So a person or a new convert can come in and say, well, I don't have to go out, or I don't have to report those same hours. But what happens is the organization has a long game, and their long game is within that control factor. And what I mean by when I say that, now with you not reporting the hours, when you have an annual service meeting and they are now in control of the hours, so they can fudge them, display them the way they want to, and they will give that false appearance of, well, hey, rank and file people, that there's an increase. There is no decrease, whether it's in the area of personal studies or congregational growth or what the overseas evangelize, but it puts total control in the organization. And when I say total control, we all know that the organization controls what you see, hear, and read. So they're controlling your perspective on everything. And I want to add this in. One of the calls was talking about the cart witnessing. On another program, I compared the cart witnessing to the memorial in the sense that once you deny the bread and the wine, they have really, when you're standing out there cart witnessing, unless you make some eye contact or basically motion towards them, you aren't getting the good news of the kingdom unless you approach them. So basically every passerby, they're denying that good news of the kingdom to you the same way they deny the bread and the wine at the memorial time. And that is because back to that control factor. I control what you see, hear, and read. Now I control your actions. Don't say anything to anybody. Let's slow down the hours So in turn, I'm controlling everything. Once I control those hours being relaxed, basically, they can almost control the delaying of Armageddon or the Great Tribulation. And I say that in the sense that if nobody's reporting hours and now they're controlling the hours and they come out with what I call a false flag tactic, the New Life Doctrine, or they come out in the Watchtower and Awake and say, hey, the end is closer than closer than close. Now, just that hint, they're just like any major media outlet. They'll cause chaos between the rank and file. You then have the newly converts rushing out to start preaching. Because like you were saying earlier, with under the old Firestone and Brimstone JWs, we had to go out and preach because Armageddon was right around the corner. But the older ones, the TMOs, the ones that are watching programs like yours, are the ones that they want to sift out. And once they get those newest in there, they can control them a little better, or make it seem like that mainstream way that you came in is acceptable. And that is part of their long game.
Well, Chris, it's always good to hear from you, and I like your explanation. My goodness, now don't you be a stranger. You come back and see us again, okay?
Thank you, bud.
Thank you, Chris. Always good to hear from Chris. Friends, I have to tell you, things are not good in the Watchtower. They are not happy. They are concerned. They are concerned there's so many people leaving right now. They are hemorrhaging. But I want to bring up tonight as well, I wanted to bring up this project up there at Ramapo. You know, I brought it up many times here on the 6 screens before, but this is what I'm thinking. With the Watchtower hemorrhaging like it is right now, all these people leaving, the cutting back, the no more reporting of time. I mean, we are seeing the Watchtower. Everybody knows the Watchtower is not increasing in numbers, but yet they still want to push this construction project, the Audio Visual Center in Ramapo, New York. It's a project they're saying now is going to take 10 years to complete, and it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to develop. I've heard upwards of 500 million, $500 million. So the Ramapo project, according to the Watchtower, is underway, and it's been underway now for years, and the completion date continues to slide into the future. They keep moving the date up. So now they're talking it's going to be finished in 2028 or 2030. I'm wondering, will they even have any witnesses then? I don't know what's going on with this Ramapo project, but according to the organization, of course, they continue to say that we are in the last days, and it's incredibly urgent that we prepare for the end of this system of things. I mean, that's what the Watchtower has been preaching, right? So this is what I want to ask the public tonight. You guys are listening in. And so why does the organization decide that this massive construction project is needed in the time of the end? And the Watchtower is collapsing, but yet at the same time, they're going to build this Ramapo.
Hey, Rick?
Yes, Sedan.
Yeah, I can comment on that because the guy at the assembly told us what was going on. He said that the Ramapo project was going to be built so that they could educate those in the resurrection. That was his words right out of his mouth. Exactly. And I'm thinking this too, Rick. In paradise, when has paradise ever been free in there? It's never been free. We had to pay our way. We paid, we paid with our time. We paid for all of our stuff. So it's never been free. That's why I'm wondering, they're not going to let them sit on their ass. The brothers can get into paradise. There's going to be a compromise. I know I'm going out on a limb, but I'm going to go on the record to say they're going to ask for something in return. They're not giving them nothing for free, Rick. They're not going to give those brothers a free ride, and so they're going to ask for their money or some kind of possession to help pay for this Ramapo. But what I heard, that's what I heard out of the horse's mouth. I asked him about the Ramapo project, and there was another brother in Bethel, and he said it's to welcome back those that are resurrected to teach them.
Yeah, no, in fact, I've heard that too, Dan. But, something with this Ramapo project, It doesn't pass the smell test. Seriously, it's not.
No,
it's not passing the smell test. And so just stop and think about it. You know, Ramapo, according to the witnesses, they're saying that God will preserve it through Armageddon. And so they'll be able to, you know, give videos to people coming back in the new system. I mean, that takes a lot to just stop and think about it. I mean, you need internet connections, you need towers, you need, you know, engineering scientists to put this all together. I mean, I got thinking, why can't the Watchtower, just seriously, if I was on the governing body, I'd say, why spend close to $500 million? Why don't we just take over Universal Picture Studios, a Paramount, a Disney, when Armageddon comes and destroys everybody? Why don't we just do that? Why build our own building?
Right.
So just,
well, you know
yeah.
what, Rick? Here's the thought is, you know, if nobody's coming in, and like we all know, nobody's coming in from those carts. Nobody's going to run up to them and say, teach me about Jehovah. We were very aggressive when we went door to door. So if nobody's coming in, you've got to squeeze the shit out of those who are already in there. And that's what they're going to do. They're saying, we did this for you, we did that for you, we shrunk the meetings, we made it really nice and comfortable so you guys can sit on your asses. That's really what they're doing. They're all sitting on their ass. I drive around, I see these carts, and I laugh. There's nobody preaching. They're just sitting there having a good time, counting time. I mean, we did that too, but at least we had to go to the door and talk and drag people, invite people to the meeting. But Rick, they're going to ask for something in return. They're not giving them a free ride. They're not giving them a free ride. Those brothers are not going to get in there without a price.
Well, I agree with you. There's something here that just does not, as we say, pass a smell test. And I'm wondering, all this money for a movie studio, a video studio, call it what you want, and they can move into a movie studio after Armageddon that would be unoccupied. So why are they doing this? Well, I have to.
Money grab, Rick. What if it's a big money grab? They don't even know
Yeah.
they take their money. Because the one brother said this, that Jehovah's, the one brother who was working on that, well, he said that before they do anything, what is it in the red or black where they don't have any debt? He said it's got to be completely paid off before they build it. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to suck the money out. I'm telling you, they're going to bleed them dry while they're under hypnosis and under Watchtower. There's no other money coming in, Rick. They got to squeeze these guys.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go on the record to say it's nothing but a big scam. I don't know if it's ever even going to happen. There's a lot of things going on with that project that just is not sensible. But then, of course, the Watchtower said through various Watchtower articles, even if something doesn't make sense from a human standpoint, just go along with it. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. And a lot of witnesses, I'm getting emails in here, a lot of witnesses are actually wondering, why are we building this? This doesn't make sense to me. I mean, this is a huge, huge project, Dan. It's 1.5 million square feet.
Yeah,
that's a big building.
You got hail going to be flying any day, Rick. Hail
Yeah.
and brimstone are coming any day, and you're going to got a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. But they've got them convinced. They've got them hook, line, and sinker, smiling ear to ear. We're going to welcome back the dead. And they got this whole thing going on, this joy of the resurrected ones are going to be resurrected. And Rick, they're going to be turned on their upside down and shaken for everything they have. No one new is coming in. They got to get the money from somewhere. So anyway, I know I've already said.
Well, no, this facility, Dan, I have to say, in Ramapo, is a pipe dream. I really believe it's a pipe dream. They're going to make the sheep believe that they need this, and then they're going to get all this money in. And when they grab all the money, then they're going to cancel the project, claiming it's new divine direction. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think that could happen. You know, they'll.
And think about it, Rick. They're already conditioned not to know where any money goes.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know where any of the money goes. They just said Jehovah's taking care of us and Jehovah's doing this. So they could take all their money. God knows what they're going to do, man. Man, it's a great show to watch. I got to tell you, Rick, I've been watching it through the big screens. You know, it's a great show to watch. Wow.
Well, get a front row seat.
Give me some
Well, no, get your front row seat, get your little pointy hat, get your little blowy horn, because it's all coming down. Boy, it feels so good. It feels so doggone good.
It does.
Yeah. But, you know, Dan, I have to tell you, we've been getting more and more people listening in, and I have to tell you that everything, I was thinking of this today, you know, everything the Watchtower ever predicted, is there anything that ever came true? Well, I've been kind of putting this together here in the last week or so, and I don't see anything, maybe a couple little things, I'll discuss it, but not much of what they predicted ever came true. You know, really.
No, all I remember, Rick, is being threatened. All the time I was in there, all I remember is being threatened. If you don't do this, you won't make it. If you don't keep your hours up, you won't make it. If you don't do this, you won't make it. You know, and then it got even more graphic at the end, where you better listen to us like your life depends on it, because it does. And we hope, you know, the phosphates die off and the maggots eat them. I mean, it's gotten way, way, way worse now. But the fear is what I lived under. That's why I always said I had a belly full of ulcers, you know, just the fear of always wondering if I did enough. You know, Jehovah only accepts my best. I didn't do enough hours today. I could have went one more hour. I could have made one more return visit. I could have, you know, I could have went out. I could have did an extra. I could have pioneered this month. It had 5 weeks. I had the time. I didn't do it. I lived in guilt for 40 years.
Well, Dan, we had a Watchtower. In fact, he was a Jehovah's Witness, and he left, but he came on our program 4 different times in the early years. His name was Dr. Jerry Bergman, and he wrote a book, Jehovah's Witnesses and the Problem of Mental Illness. And he mentioned in there, one of the reasons why Jehovah's Witnesses have this mental illness condition more than other religions is the fact that they are always putting their life on hold. And isn't that what we were doing, Dan? We kept putting our life on hold. Well, don't do this. Don't have children. Don't get married. Don't get a good job. Armageddon's right around the corner. You can't live a life like that. That's a terrible life to live.
And as teenagers, you know, I had to watch people play football. I had to watch guys date girls. I've told it before on the show, and I had a worldly girl one time. I just kind of walked her home, and I was holding her hand, and she gave me a kiss on my cheek. My dad slid down the road 60 miles an hour, sliding sideways, and grabbed me and yanked me in the car. He said, "I'll knock the hell out of you, boy. That's a worldly woman." And, you know, almost killed me just for, you know, being with a worldly woman. And it was just so screwed up. And we were hoarders. My mom and dad were hoarders. My mom was schizophrenic. Our house was a disaster. There was maggots, you know, all over. There was piss, you know, curling up the tiles on the floor where the dog pissed. We had to step over it. It was so bad, Rick. It was so bad. And the bathroom smelled like mud. There was fish worms, silkworms, and we would throw the shit out of the tub and then throw it back in the tub. And, you know, my mom was messed up, and my dad was in fear. And he totally shut down after 75, after they lied to him. He shut down and died of pancreatic cancer. So all I've seen in there, from what I've seen, is mental illness, separation, destruction of my family, destruction of my mother. My mother died saying, "Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me." I looked through like quarter-inch cataract eyes because she wouldn't get her fucking eyes fixed because Watchtower said the world was going to end. So I'm watching my mother, you know, sitting there dying. And I said, "Why are you saying that, Mom?" She says, "I can't go to the meeting." I said, "Mom, they're carrying you down the fucking hall in a crane. How the hell are you going to go to a meeting? You had a stroke." But they had her so programmed. They destroyed her. Watchtower destroyed my mother. They killed my father. That's why I came back into activism. I said, how the hell can I go away and get on with my life and do all the good things, which I did for about 10 years. But when I saw the mental illness setting in on my brother Doug and my brother Phil just died, but my brother Doug, I thought, I've got to do something. I can't let them pass this guy to Brooklyn kill my whole family. You know, so my brother got out, my younger brother got out. My younger brother Paul, he's out. He made it out. But my brother Doug, he's still in, but he's looking messed up. His wife almost died. She's young. These people are young that are dying in there. They're so mentally ill. They don't know right from left. They've been told light is dark and dark is light. You know, we didn't say that about 75. What are you talking about 75? That's people screwing with your head. And it's not a
good thing. When people tell you light is dark and dark is light, you start to think you're going mad. So, you know, just looking around in there, it was just, I don't know, it's just weird, Rick. But that's what I've experienced in there. And all the years of not being able to wear a coat with a little thing on it that had my high school name on it, that said I was in junior varsity or varsity. I never had no self-esteem. I never had any self-worth. I never had any accomplishments, things that I did. I wasn't allowed to be a part of the paper, the student program. I wasn't to be allowed any sports. My dad come home, saw that I joined wrestling, and he knocked the shit out of me, made me take all my clothes back, then I joined cross country. He saw my sweat clothes in there and knocked hell out of me. And then we went down and watched the football game where he used to play football when he was young. And he said, yeah, I used to play football here, and I used to do this high school football. And so it was a hell of a life. It was a hell of a life. And Watchtower created these nightmares that we've all had. We've all been ripped off. We can get it back, but we did lose a lot. We can say we lost a lot, and we can be angry, and we can be upset, even though it's been a while. It takes a while to come out of that and get back on our feet. But I'm glad I did, but I know my story isn't the same. My story is the same as everybody else, you know, but man, they did a number on us.
Well,
glad.
Well, you got me thinking, Dan, as you're speaking. A couple of things there. You know, as an adult, you can take a little more hurt than when you're a kid. But when you're a young guy, you know, you mentioned that the girl gave you a little kiss on the cheeks, and your dad come running down the road. Don't do that. She's a worldly woman. That can be traumatic. That can cause trauma in your life, really. And then
you want to know that was horrible. I couldn't touch a girl's hand. You know, they said that warm feeling. That woman's hand, that other person, is going to do something to you. You know, it's going to turn you on or whatever. So we didn't get to develop naturally. You know, it was even worse, Rick. Masturbation, which is something that just comes upon us at a certain age. To be told that you should pluck your eyes out, and to be told that you should comb your body and leave it as a slave, that after you preach, you might not become disproved somehow. If your eye's making a stumble, pull it out. To be told that is the only alternative. And then you go in and tell the elders, and the elders say, Brother Clark, you're entertaining wrong thoughts. That wasn't entertaining wrong thoughts. I'm not saying wrong thoughts didn't come to my mind. But I wasn't just entertaining wrong thought. There was a part of my development that was happening, but there was no grace. Now, here's the thing, Rick. Here's where schizophrenia and mental illness and sex addiction and all that shit come in. You're a house divided against itself. How do you deal with hunger when you're hungry? What do you do? When you're hungry, you go eat. So you have this sexual desire that you can't release in any way. Oh man, he left his semen on the ground. He must remain outside the city for a week. He's filthy. I mean, shit. I remember telling kids in school that. They messed with my head. Oh, you're gay. You know, you're messed up. And they would laugh their asses off me. My dad didn't explain it to me. You know what I'm saying, Rick? It was black and white. These guys are psychopaths. And I think this whole pedophilia thing is going to be so big. I think that's another reason they're shutting it down. Like that guy said last week on your show, on Barbara Anderson's, there's lots and lots of lawsuits. Watchtower's paying out the act, but they're not letting people know. They're not letting people know, Rick. They're doing hush money. They're giving $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 here, $30,000 there, $10,000 here, $5,000 there. And that crazy guy that you're talking about keeps doing, you know, these radio broadcasts saying everything's wonderful in Watchtower.
Yeah.
But what a sick organization, Rick. They create mental illness. Fear creates mental illness. Yeah, you know, not being able to develop properly, not being able to have proper self-esteem, accomplishment. Yeah, you know, to feel like I felt like I was nobody. When I got divorced and went in the world, I didn't even know myself. I didn't know who I was. I wouldn't walk into a nice restaurant. I was like, I didn't know who I was. I was a freak. I didn't know how to talk to people. I mean, what a mess Watchtower's created when we made that our idol, when we made Watchtower our God, when we made the governing body our God.
But look at you today, Dan, a very successful man. You're free from the Watchtower. You have a wonderful wife, Angela, and look at all the good bonuses you've got. So you're a brand new man after you got out of the Watchtower. Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah. And God says, I'll make all things new. But we got to give him our temple. We We can't let Watchtower reign in our temple. And he also said, I'll give you back with the loaves of Eden. And I have gotten back with the loaves of Eden. I've gotten tenfold. And everything is new in my life. I'm happy. I'm an author. I'm married. I'm a business owner. I could just keep going on and on. It seems like everything I touch, it's like it's like gold. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that to brag away. I'm just saying I didn't realize I had any damn ability.
Yeah,
I didn't realize there was all of this. I want to say this, Rick. A lot of people don't know. There's a lot of them up on the shelf. Watchtower has taken your soul and told you to place everything and who you are up on the shelf, and don't worry about it. The end's going to come. And when I discovered that shelf of things that I was like, oh my God, it was unbelievable. And it was always there for me to use.
Well, Dan, will tell you what, I mean, you were a good example of a person that left the Watchtower and has become very successful. Dan, thank you. Thank you for calling in tonight.
Thank you, Rick.
We have 603. Maybe he wants to say something to you. 603, you want to come in from New Hampshire? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Kevin from New Hampshire.
Yes, Kevin.
Yeah, I learned the truth in '84. I got baptized in '91. I haven't gone to a meeting since 2011. I used to have the fear all the time. Always afraid of breaking one of the rules and being kicked out of the religion, But since I've been watching the YouTube videos, I mean, you people have done a really good job. I think a lot of people are leaving. First thing I find strange, all these iPads. It's like they're all robots. Oh, look, it used to be you had a printed Bible. Now it's an iPad. And can you picture this? Everybody's picking up their iPad like robots. It's brainwashing. And the fear. And if you're on an iPad, how hard is it to look at a YouTube video from an ex-witness like yourself or Lloyd Evans or Dan Clark, and your eyes are open and people leave and people are disfellowshipped. How many of those people go back? I saw a guy that was disfellowshipped once and he was humiliated. I would never do that and go back and sit in the back when the meeting starts and then get up before it ends and disappear because no one will talk to you. People can't take that kind of treatment. They can't. People are social animals. We like being social. If I was disfellowshipped, I would never go back. Well, I'm not going back anyway, But still, my opinion is 90% probably never go back. That it's difficult for anybody to do that for a year and shun you, and no one will talk to you at the Kingdom Hall and be treated like you're a leper. No. And I was just thinking about this Ramapo. That's $500 million for Ramapo. It just came to me. You know what that is? That's the Ministry of Propaganda. Like Joseph Goebbels. It's the Watchtower Ministry of Propaganda. They want to make better videos to brainwash everybody. That's what I think. Because they're doing a good job of it now. And that thing about them not going to be shunning you again if you fade away, because I faded away. What are we saying? That they shun people that fade away? They're not going to do that no more? That's ingrained in every Jehovah's Witness to shun you. They're not just because the Watchtower says don't shun them anymore. They're still going to shun them. It's ingrained in their brain. So.
Well, Kevin, very good comments, Kevin. Very good comments. I want to thank you. I think you knew calling in. You're a fellow New Englander. So thank you for dialing in here tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, come back to business again, okay?
I will.
Good. Thank you for listening. Well, thank you, Kevin, for listening. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. We get to a lot of new ones calling in tonight. So something's going on in the world of the Watchtower. Plenty of people are coming in. Well, that might just about do it for tonight. Did Mia want to come on? Did she want to say something about Israel? Or did our good friend Debbie Moore want to say something? I don't want to end the program without bringing that up. Did Mia want to say something about Israel today? I know there's some problems going on in Israel. Why don't you? Okay, it looks like we have. Okay, go ahead, Debbie. I told you I'd give you some time. So go ahead, tell us what you think.
My attack Israel this morning, they ran over the borders and they're massacring people as they go. much kind of what's going on with our borders, only we're being killed with drugs and other things. But they are killing people, and the ones they're not killing, they're taking hostage. And they released over 2,200 missiles or rockets into Israel today. So it was a very planned, orchestrated attack. And I'm not sure how much you want me to say about what's going on in the world.
Well, no, I mean, people realize it. I see it on the news today. But what are you extracting from all of this? What meaning does it have for Debbie Moore?
Well, I'm just thinking our military money and equipment is being shipped over to Ukraine, along with trillions and trillions of dollars out of Americans' pockets. Everyone in America are allies. China is on the verge of attacking the United States, and they're allies with Russia. And I know we're not supposed to be scared if we're a Christian, but it's just scary because it's like, what's going to happen? It's like the whole world is about to be blown up or something, and I worry about it because our borders are overrun completely. You're taking money out of the veterans' homeless thing, and they're using that to house and feed the illegal aliens, and they're overrunning these refuge cities. I think that's what they're called. And I know Chicago announced that I think they said 1,500 immigrants are coming there a day. And there's just no way. Our country's already barely surviving because of our homelessness and everything that's going on. And our country can't handle all of this. And I just feel like any time it's going to be time to bend over and kiss our butt goodbye because, I mean, it's scary.
Well, no, it is. It's scary. It's scary, Debbie, and I do have to admit that. And, you know, we have programs on here that deal with that and have dealt with it, the reset and all of this. And we just don't know what the future is. But today it's a little more terrible than it has been in the past. I know up here in Massachusetts, just for a person to get a decent apartment, I mean, a decent apartment will run you $2,000 a month. And you know, where do people come up with that kind of money if they're making minimum wage? It's just something got out of whack. And only time will tell how it's going to be able to straighten itself out, if it will. But I'm not going to lose hope. I don't want you to lose hope either. Things change.
I'm not losing hope. I might have said sounded like that, but then I have to admit at the same time, I'm actually happier now than I've ever been in my life. And I just had that insecurity, though, of what might happen that I think we're as prepared as we can possibly be. And there's not a whole lot we can do about changing it. But then at the same time, I do believe one person can make a big change for everybody.
Well, that's what you do.
It's going to be brave enough to change.
Well, then what you do is you live on hope. And my feelings on this whole thing, because it seems so weird, Debbie, that you have all these people coming in at the border. I don't know why that would be. I don't know who to really totally blame, whether it's the head of the Homeland Security or whether it's a president or whether it's a vice president. I don't know who to blame at this point. But here's what I feel about this. There may be, now you may never have heard this before, but capitalism as we know it, we are in a capitalist country, the biggest capitalist country in the world. And I mean, you take a look around you, there's business, there's people that are making and manufacturing products and all of this. If you watch the business news in the morning, you see all these people come on, explain all of this. I'm thinking that in the long run, I hope I'm right, I could be totally wrong, but this might be something like an Alfred Hitchcock ending. I'm thinking deep down somewhere that somebody is allowing all of this to preserve capitalism. We know that a lot of American people, little families, they're not having children anymore. You know, the white American family does not have children. I mean, I had 5 children, my former wife and I, and, you know, you've had a few children yourself, Debbie, but that's not the case anymore. American people, for the most part, are not having children. So in order to preserve capitalism, you've got to let all of these people come in and bring in children, and that'll be the economy for tomorrow. I'm thinking this might be what the government's doing, because it's so inconceivable that someone would allow all these people to come into our country. I know it sounds strange, and I know it sounds like, yeah, because I'm thinking it's just not sensible. I mean, if I want to use the term, the same thing the Watchtower says from a human standpoint, you don't let thousands of people. Last month, for example, in September, there were 200,000 people that came through from foreign countries. Now, I came out of the Home Depot yesterday, and there was a woman there, and she was nice, and she was, you know, begging for money. So I rolled the window down. I said, "Miss," I says, "are you having trouble?" She said she had kids, and she's from Venezuela, and she's an illegal immigrant. And she said that she came into the country, and she wants to work, but she says she can't work because she doesn't have the papers. So she said some woman came by and said to her, you know, yelled out of the car, "Get a job, lady." But she says she can't because he's illegal. So something, it just doesn't make sense that a president would allow, you know, all of these people to come in and no explanation. There's something going on that I think is bigger than we think. It might be to preserve capitalism, because if there's nobody coming in, yeah, go ahead.
It's Tim here from Australia. Just a few thoughts on that. I look into this stuff very deeply, and what you're seeing is a convergence of a long-term plan. These have been written about in advance, and there's goals that they've had for the United States and the world, and everything has been achieved so far. So they were behind before COVID. COVID pushed the agenda forward. The illegal immigrant situation you're talking about, a lot of that is to destabilize the United States and also to destroy the original culture. And that's why you've got the immigrants coming into Europe. And also to change the vote to, what's more left-wing, but hardcore left-wing. So as far as capitalism goes, what they're aiming for is called stakeholder capitalism. And that's what the World Economic
Go ahead.
Out in the open. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Come back with that last, what the World Economic Forum is trying to push. We want to hear that.
Yes. So what they're saying is they're pushing for what's called stakeholder capitalism, which is essentially a communism, but a capitalism which is a government joined with big business. Kind of what you're seeing consolidated during COVID. It's what you see in China, that China was an experiment for all of this. You had Kissinger go over there in the 60s, and they made China an experiment of communism to turn it into the workforce of the world and slowly take over as the major power. That's all been planned since back then in the 60s. So that's why you see China is the engine of manufacturing of the world, and why you see the US is in decline. And that way, so by creating problems across the world, you have to have solutions. The same people creating the problems, they will have the solutions for you. It's problem reaction solution. It's called Hegelian dialectic. And that goes right back to Karl Marx and the original goal of Marxism and communism. It's a slow changing of society so that the government has full control and then everyone else is all equal. So that's why you hear buzzword equity, you know, social equity. They are trying to tell you that you're going to be equal and we're going to fix the problems of all poor. Everyone's going to be equal in the system. And it sounds good, except that the government and these big businesses are still going to be at the top, and your life is actually going to be harder for it. You know, it's very complex, but when you dig into it further, you'll see that that's what's going on. So at this point, COVID consolidated the wealth of the biggest companies in the world and took wealth away from the middle class. Why is that? It's to take power away from the middle class and to put everyone at an equal footing of being more poor. And that's why you've got inflation. The Ukraine war is also another deliberate action. These things are talked about. You can find the history of these things years ago. You know, you had Soros in the Ukraine in the early 2000s, destabilizing the government, you know, putting in an American puppet government to cause problems with Russia for the future. And now that war, they take, you know, you're taking money out of the United States. You've got that. You're propping up the military-industrial complex, and you've raised food prices around the world. So you're making life for the average person around the world much harder, which again, like COVID, its goal is to get you reliant on the government and bring everyone down to that same core standard. So I mean, there's too much to say about this thing, but that's why you're seeing all of these things coming to fruition now. The next thing they're talking about is a massive cyber attack that's going to make COVID look bad. And when the World Economic Forum talks about these things, people need to pay attention, because they ran the simulations for COVID 1 year before COVID was ever a thing. They said that there was going to be a coronavirus. This is how people are going to react. We're going to do this. And that was in 2019. So last year, they've ran the ones about the comprehensive cyber attack and what that's going to do for the world. It's a means. So part of it is to collapse the American dollar. You can see that happening before your eyes. There's less countries dealing in the dollar. BRICS is becoming more of a force, and the globalist corporations are propping that up. Why do they want the dollar to collapse? So they can bring in their new digital currency, which forces everyone to be on the same page. It's easier to track and trace everyone. And it's just, I mean, really to consolidate control over humanity as well. And then part of it is literally, unfortunately, depopulation. And again, that sounds insane, but they've looked at it years ago and they said, sorry, there's too many people in the world. How can we kill them off in a way that's not going to, not going to be, so noticeable? And that's why what Debbie was talking on. I'm not going to go into the whole COVID shot and everything.
Yeah.
Multiple things to kill off the Earth's population. And you're going to start seeing it. In every Western country, death rates are up 10% since COVID. It's got nothing to do with COVID, and no government wants to say what is happening. They know what's happening, but they're not going to tell us.
Well,
Just to wrap it up, Rick, I'll just say quickly, the biggest thing that annoys me about all of this is religions like the Watchtower that pretends to be, got people in fear. They won't even talk about what is really happening in the world and what's going on behind the government. That has people believe that everything's fine, and then an earthquake is the end of the world. And that's a real shame to see. People need to educate themselves, because the education system, universities, they've all got one compromised form of education that doesn't teach people the real truth about the world. And unless you dig, you can't find that. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. Sorry for the rant.
No, that's all right. No, that's all right. People listening here intently. It's just that it's not normal. And that's why I say, any one logically minded person, especially the head of a country, would not allow hundreds of thousands, millions of illegal people to come in. So I figure there's got to be some bigger plot behind this. Is it to preserve capitalism or whatever? But I enjoy your explanation. I really do. And I want to thank you for giving that to us. Thank you. All right. Let's go. We got New Hampshire once again. I believe that's Kevin. Kevin, do you want to say something? Go ahead, 603.
Oh, well, I learned about the resurrection hope from the witnesses, and that the governments belong to Satan. So I kept that, I believe that. But believe that the governing body speaks for me, that I have to go through them to get to Jesus. So my perspective is a little bit different, I think. Things that are happening are, I don't worry about them because I still believe in God. Okay? So God made us. He made this earth. He's not going to allow us to destroy it. There's been wars, since man's been here. So, but I don't picture a nuclear war destroying the earth. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I still believe this, God's going to rule from heaven at some point, just like he did in with the nation of Israel. So I don't worry about it. I mean, you had the other viewer, that was saying she sounded like she was worrying about it, but don't worry about it. I mean, if you believe in God, if that's the one that you got out of being a Jehovah's Witness, you still believe in God, you believe in the Bible, you don't believe in their Bible or their doctrines, the Watchtower Society, because they're wrong. As long as you believe in God, don't worry about the world situation.
Well, there you go. Well, that's good. That's good admonition, Kevin. And thank you. I mean, I think it's good that you left the Watchtower, but you didn't leave God behind. Thank you, Kevin, very much. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I guess we're going to kind of end the program tonight. We're not going to have a program after this. We've been cutting back here on the 6 screens. Maybe eventually we'll go back to programming late at night. It takes a lot out of me as I'm getting older. We used to go all night long. We still have a number of programs running on the 6 screens. We have programs tomorrow. Did you ever listen in to 6 Screens Sunday? Well, that begins tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a program, it's a Christian program, and 2 Christian apologists come on beginning tomorrow at 12, and it's the Knowing God program after leaving the Watchtower. So they come on tomorrow at 12, and we talk about theological teachings. We get into theology on Sunday. We don't do it here on Saturday night. And then Coach East Pendleton. Well, he wrote a book. It's called The Bible versus the Watchtower. Coach East will be on tomorrow at 1 o'clock right here on our 6 Screens Network. And then we have a program about what ex-Jehovah's Witnesses do for spirituality when they leave the Watchtower. So that's a program I'll have tomorrow at 2. And then we do JW World News Sunday edition. That will be at 3. And then at 4, we have a program tomorrow. It's called Christian Court. And we have 2 Christian scholars that come on, and they answer non-salvation issues for Christians, peculiar questions Christians ask. They'll be on tomorrow at 4. And then JEHOVAH'S, well, he one time was associated with the Watchtower Writing Department. He has a program at 5 o'clock, and you can call in and ask him Bible questions, and he'll answer it. Any question you have, that's tomorrow, right here on the 6 Screens Tele-Network. So I also wanted to mention tonight, I want to thank everyone for coming into our program tonight. We had a lot of people that came in, and we appreciate all of those people that did come in and comment. More than ever, folks, I really appreciate it. It's really gaining a lot of momentum. More and more people leaving the Watchtower, and they want to come in and find out what's going on, and they do it right here because it's a live program, and we interact with people in real time. Now, another thing I want to mention to you folks is, people, they want to send money to the 6 Screens. I say don't send any money to the 6 Screens. Okay, yeah, it cost me money to do the program live, the platforms and what have you. But, I got out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I didn't have to become a patron. I didn't have to send donations in. So, I don't mind doing this on my own dime. If you want to do something for me, subscribe to the channel, share it on Facebook, comment, let people know that this program exists and it can help so many people leaving the Watchtower. So at this point, no, don't send money in. I'd rather just do it. I don't want to be under the pressure of having to do great programs because you're paying for it. So no, there's no money due here. But I want to thank those people that have sent money in, but don't do it. We don't want to accept donations at this time. So anyways, that should end it for today. I really enjoyed the program tonight. My wife, Susan, seems to be getting a little better here. I do have some help that's helping me to work with her, and we'll get her better here soon, and hopefully she'll be right back on the air with us. So I want to say this. I don't want any of you folks to ever give in, up or out. I want you to keep waving the flag of victory. And the last one leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We'll see you tomorrow beginning at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much for coming in tonight to the 6 Screens of the Watchtower, JW World News.